Welcome everybody to the first session in Scarlet Citadel. This is going to be using the old school rules, a first edition type set of rules for a Scarlet Citadel campaign. It's going to be a very interesting experience, and we will see where it goes from here. So as this is session one, we'll go ahead and introduce our players really briefly. So players, feel free to say as much or as little about yourself as you like. And we do have one player who unfortunately is not with us at the moment, but should be joining slightly thereafter. But I'm just going to go from top to bottom. So why don't we start with, let's go start with Tom.
Do you want to hear about me or about my character? About me, I'm ex-military, so I apologize for the swearing, which I will try very hard to edit.
Perfect. Yep. Yeah. And that's as much or as little as you'd like to give. And as far as actual characters go, usually we wait until we get into the game proper. So if that's as much of a personal introduction as you'd like to do, that's perfect.
Sounds great.
All right. Excellent. Next, we'll move to Dave.
Hello, I am Dave. And I think we already talked about the long walks. So yeah, I'm retired. So I'm kind of ex everything.
Excellent. And next up we have Jared.
Hi, I'm Jared, and that's all I got to say.
All right, nice, short and sweet. And then last up we will go to Paul.
Hi, I'm Paul. Been playing D&D for many decades and excited to get this one going.
Okay, excellent. Brief, right to the point. Appreciate that. And team, yeah, we will go ahead and pick up our campaign. So this is session one of Scarlet Citadel. For anybody who happens to be watching along, this is, like I say, an interesting rule set that not all of us are super experts at. So we're going to be learning as we go into this. So be patient with us as we kind of fumble through this, at least in the beginning. So group, our campaign is going to open in the village of Red Tower that all of you have arrived at within the last couple of days. So finding yourselves here in the village of Red Tower, it is located sort of southeast of anywhere you might think of as having some type of realistic civilization, or what you might call more or less, populous areas. So you can think of this as being sort of like in the corner of nowhere. And the folks who come here typically are adventurers. There's not a whole lot of other trade or mercantile endeavors in this area. But as our campaign opens on the village of Red Tower, we find that it is morning, approximately 9 a.m. with the sun high in the sky. It is fairly warm outside. You can think about 70 degrees. The animals are chirping out in the woods just past the wall, and the village here seems to be abuzz with people moving to and fro. So what I like to do here is pick a random player. So for start, why don't we go ahead and sanctify our first dice here. So everybody go ahead and roll me a d20, please, and roll 20. And whoever gets the highest, we will focus on your character first and ask what your character might be doing around the village of Red Tower at the moment. Okay, excellent. So we will start with Elroy then. So, Elroy, where is Elroy at the moment in the village of Red Tower?
Well, the volume is a little bit high for me. Is there a way for me to turn that down on my end?
There is, yes. You can either use your controls on your side. So, for example, on your PC, usually there's like a little sound blaster icon. You can turn that down. Or through Roll20 itself, if you click on the gear cog in the top right corner, you'll find an audio and video section. And then you'll see master music volume level. And you can take that slider down to whatever you like.
Oh, perfect. Thank you so much. Well, since I've been awake since before dawn, to properly greet Palor and the sunrise, I would be probably finishing up chores and back in whatever common room of a tavern I'm staying in, possibly with a little sign set out, adventures apply here.
Okay,
and I'll have some nice, tasty stuff put out as though I'm getting ready for a conference.
All right, so that is where we will start off with Elroy being in the Cage Tavern and Inn. So those of you that have been here in the village of Red Tower would recognize this building as being very prominently featured here in the village. It is a sort of typical tavern, but very atypical is the entrance to the tavern, which looks to be the massive bones that lead to the front door. So entering into the tavern is sort of this interesting experience of stepping through this rib cage of sorts before you get inside. So that is where Elroy is, and we will then move to Locke. Where might Locke be at the moment?
He is normally set up shop in the cage with a table there, but perhaps this morning he has gone out to converse with his new acquaintance Elroy, and peruse his cookies that he has made, and he will sniff at them suspiciously.
Okay, excellent. So far, two of our characters are inside of the Cage Tavern and Inn. So we've got 2 locations known, and we will then jump to Vether. Where's Vether at the moment?
I will also be inside the tavern.
All right, perfect. I'm noticing a pattern here. We've got all of our characters in a tavern. Try to give everybody, every group a chance to not start in a tavern, but it's pretty common and it's right on point, right? So how about Wagner? Is there anybody anywhere else other than the tavern that Wagner may be?
No, Wagner is definitely in the tavern, having received a note under his door. He is making his way for some food and asking the proprietor if that proprietor might know of an Elroy.
All right, excellent, team. Well, then let's go ahead and take our view right inside the Cage Tavern and Inn. So, group, you notice that this is a pretty rambunctious tavern during the nighttime, but being that it is day at the moment, not nearly as many folks inside, typically just your older patrons here for breakfast perhaps, and it is much more of a subdued affair than the other times perhaps you've been here at night, which is much more activity. So we'll start with Wagner. As I heard you say, go to the proprietor and inquire about this Elroy character. So stepping up to the bar counter here, you do notice that there is a man behind the counter, and he seems to be eyeing you as you get closer to him, Wagner. You may have heard his name around town before, or perhaps here in the Cage Tavern and Inn. He goes by Ambrosi. Ambrosi here is a pretty stocky gentleman, about 5'10", 200 pounds or so. And you can see he is definitely older with age. As you can see, his hair has started to lose its color. As you approach, you see he gives you this sort of firm nod of his head and sort of just eyes you silently, waiting for you to ask what you're looking for.
Greetings on this glorious morning. How are you today?
And he gives this very simple as he continues taking this cloth and wiping at some of the containers here, mugs and cups, and the counter itself.
Excellent. Me too. I'm curious. You wouldn't happen to know a gentleman by the name of Elroy, would you?
And at this time, would we say Elroy's sort of at a table, at a booth? Where do we imagine Elroy is?
I'm kind of picturing somewhere out of the way where it looks like a decent number of chairs could be pulled up, but maybe have not been yet. It looks like somebody waiting to be asked about a multi-level marketing program.
All right, excellent. And would Elroy have had any interactions so far with Ambrosi, or sort of?
Oh, totally. Yeah, he's brought extra food to share from day one, and he's always tipped super well and been very polite, but not quite as terse as the proprietor.
All right, excellent. So as you ask this question, Wagner, of Ambrosi, you notice he kind of stretches his neck across the counter here, looking into the corner where he does indeed spot Elroy and his little sign, and he kind of gets your gaze once again, and without even speaking, he just nods towards this table.
Excellent, thank you. One more question, if you don't mind. You probably get sick of this one, but is there anything you might be able to tell me about the Scarlet Citadel?
And you see he continues to wipe the mug. Anything? Anything in particular?
No, what is it? What was it? How frequently does it receive guests? Anything you might know.
You notice he has this small grin on his face before he catches himself doing this and makes his face sort of placid once again. Let me guess, you came all the way here and you have no idea what's in store for you. That's pretty typical. Happens kind of often. I'll just tell you, the smart ones live, but the ones that just kind of rush ahead, not so much.
All right, noted. Do not rush ahead. Anyhow, thanks again. I will go talk to the gentleman over there.
He gives you another curt nod as he takes his attention away and back to his counter.
Yeah, so Wagner will just clear his throat, make sure his armor's on straight, make sure his appearance is one to meet new people, and he'll stride his way across the tavern in the direction of Elroy.
All right, excellent. So Wagner, as you're striding towards that table, and this is what Elroy looks like for anybody watching along. Is there anything that's... I'm sorry, not Elroy, Wagner. Is there anything about Wagner that sticks out to the team, or to Elroy or anybody else who may be watching from the table?
No, not really. He wears a cloak that has a heart symbol directly in the back, so I suppose you wouldn't see that as he approaches, but eventually you would. Just wearing chain armor, seems a bit young, maybe too young for even this kind of adventure, perhaps.
Okay, excellent. Sounds like your typical boy band adventurer. Yeah, sure. Approaching the table here. And Elroy, I imagine you are sitting there prominently. And anything specific about Elroy that may stick out to Wagner?
Elroy is the kind of friendly that makes some people suspicious. He's a half-elf, obviously. He wears a prominent holy symbol that is a sun. Not worth a whole lot, but it is sparkly. And he's got his adventuring gear, like a backpack and stuff, set next to him. As he sees the paladin approach, a big smile will, an even bigger smile will prop itself on his face, and he'll stand up and put his hand out.
Yeah, Wagner, seeing that, nods to Elroy and, aloud says, "Greetings, Elroy," extends his hand as well and gives a very nice, firm grip of the forearm as he shakes his hand.
And right back at you. We compare strengths, and we are both very strong. I'll ask you if you want to join me at the table and whether you've had breakfast yet.
I have
if
not.
I'd be happy to pay for it.
Yeah, I have not. I'm quite hungry, to be honest. A long day yesterday. I'd be happy to get off of my feet. Thank you. And I'll pull out a chair and take a seat.
And is Locke also
hand him
sitting
the
at
menu.
the table at this time?
Yes, correct.
Okay, excellent. So yes, as you take a seat here, Wagner, with Elroy, you will notice another individual sitting at that same area. And anything about Locke that perhaps may stick out?
Just, he's got a stupid grin on his face, but he nods to you, Wagner, and says, "Good morn," and he gives you a fist bump as he is not going to play the strength game.
Yeah, Wagner's a little confused by the fist bump. It takes him a moment to realize, and as he does, you can see like a light bulb click in his head as he grips his fist with his leather gloves and does the fist bump, and he smiles widely to you.
And I'll say, it's an elven thing.
All right, excellent. So as three of our team members have made it to the table here and starting to talk amongst each other and perhaps order some breakfast, where inside of the Cage Tavern and Inn might Vether be at the moment?
Certainly sitting at a table, having breakfast.
Okay, excellent. So already getting into some breakfast here, as you notice that there is a single waitress that seems to be on duty for the small number of patrons inside of the Cage Tavern and Inn at the moment. She does sort of approach at the moment, looking down at your plate here, Vether. Is Vether sort of just getting started? Is he nearly complete with his food?
Probably nearly complete. Finishing up.
Okay, excellent. So you'll notice she gives you this small nod and says, I hope everything was to your satisfaction. Is there anything else you need, sir?
Yes, it was great. Nothing at this time, dear.
Oh, okay. Would you like me to clear your place here?
That would be wonderful.
And you see she gives you another smile and pulls this cloth that's sort of hanging out of a side pouch here, begins to wipe it down as she begins to bust the table, putting things on the plate, taking them all away and making sure that the counter is indeed clear. At this time, Vethor, again, probably finishing your meal, just scanning around. Again, not really much going on, but you certainly notice this auspicious group of 3 individuals in the corner as they are all dressed in what you might assume to be some type of adventuring, or at least more well-armed type of gear, as the rest of the folks in the tavern are pretty typical, more of your like farmers or sort of handymen, those kind of workers. These folks clearly stick out. So back at the table, the 3 of you, Elroy, as you're looking perhaps at ordering some breakfast, you notice that same waitress waits on this gentleman who's sitting at the table, and as you cast a glance at him, is there anything specific about Vethor that may stick out?
No, I don't think so. Kind of nondescript.
Is he wearing this interesting-looking face guard, or is this more something he might do in battle?
No, he's not wearing that in a tavern. Yeah. No.
Okay, excellent. So from what they see, pretty much, is he human in appearance? Is that what they'd be able to detect?
Yeah, he's human. Bald. And clean shaven.
Okay, clean-shaven, bald human there. So as the waitress seems to take care of this, and moments later does indeed start kind of making the rounds, spotting the 3 of you at the table there. You'll notice she does indeed walk over and sort of eyes you here, Elroy, with a smile, seemingly sort of knowing that perhaps you were trying to get her attention, or maybe she just picked up on this. And as she approaches, yes, is there anything that you need, gentlemen?
Well, Beth, I think my 2 friends here could use something more filling than just the cookies that I made. Thanks for your help with that, by the way. Beth, do you have any recommendations as far as breakfast this morning?
Oh, well, we have the boiled eggs and dried carrot. That's fairly quick to put together. Unless you like to wait, we also can provide the boiled sausage and cashew bread.
Gentlemen.
Cashews are one of my favorites. That sounds delicious.
I'm fine with the cookies, I think. Fine. Perhaps a cup of wine?
And you notice she gives you this kind of look, and you almost get the impression of like somebody looking at towards a kid that maybe just was trying to misbehave or do something a little bit wrong. And with this little grin on her face, she says, "Oh, this early in the morning?"
Well, you want to get the day started off right, don't you?
And you see she kind of gives herself a little smile and chuckle that she covers with her hand. Yes, okay, certainly. I will see what we have available. So that is a cup of wine and one of the boiled sausages and cashew bread. And for you, and she looks towards you now, Elroy.
If I could get some hot water, I'm going to steep some tea, and a couple of cups for that, if you don't mind, Beth. Thank you.
And she smiles once more as she takes this cloth and just kind of hangs it over her shoulder and turns and starts making her way back to the kitchens.
Well, greetings, gentlemen. It's a pleasure to meet you both.
And you as well.
Indeed, indeed. Well, I think we might all be headed to the same place. I think that fellow over there with the interesting helmet might also be an adventurer. Should we invite him to join us, or?
Yeah, I think we're going to need as sturdy a group as we can find. I think it'd be a great idea to recruit at least one more, maybe not 2.
Yeah, maybe even 3, if we can get lucky.
Indeed.
Exactly.
Well, the next time that someone who works here passes by, I'll ask them to send a nice hot toddy to his table.
Elroy.
Yes.
So, why is it again you wanted to go into this the Citadel?
My own reasons. Well, there's a little bit of a history that is non-documented in my family that speaks of it. But primarily, once I'd heard of it, my dreams started to be very full, and they involved architecture, which I had not seen in this region in a while. So I began to do a little bit of reading on the topic. Surprisingly, there's not much, but it sparked my interest and wasn't too far away from where I was bounding about normally. So I thought, why not?
Very good.
What about you? You're a long way from High Folk.
Well, that long, but well, there's supposed to be, I think, treasure in there, perhaps. Maybe a lot of it, and magic as well. If nothing else, all of the leavings of the adventurers that died before us, you would think.
Indeed. What about you, Wagner? Or is it Sir Wagner? I never could figure that out.
So out of character, I'm not sure. I don't think I'm an actual knight at this point. So I would. It's not right.
Right, aspirant is not a knight yet.
Okay, so in character, no, not sir, not yet. If all goes well, perhaps sooner rather than later. But to answer your question, it's a longer tale. But essentially, I'm looking for someone. I'm looking for my sister, and it turns out her last sightings were in the Scarlet Citadel. I have no doubt that she can take care of herself. The strongest of my brothers and sisters, the 9 of us. Even though I need to make sure she's all right and deliver a message to her.
When is the last time that someone in this town put eyes on her?
Asking around yesterday, I believe it was roughly a week ago, and she was with a group, I imagine much like us now, heading into the Scarlet Citadel. So that must be where she is.
Well, I hope that you two are joined in a happy reunion with much information to share.
Does she have a name, her sister?
She does. Let me check I forget what I wrote. Caitlin, I believe.
Caitlin. Very good. And any unique features?
She has bright auburn hair, so she's pretty easily spotted from a distance.
Good. Well, just in case we have you on your shield, so to speak, and we encounter her, then we shall save her on your behalf.
Agreed. Well, should we
What is in these cookies? I'm feeling funny.
Oh, ginger. It's always the special ingredient.
Yeah, I thought there was a little, something on the back of the tongue.
Yeah, I should mention that in case of allergies, whatever those are. Should we invite this other fellow? I guess I can, since Beth seems to be busy, I can just go invite him personally.
Yes, please.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I'll wander over to Vether's table.
You do.
And I'll click my heels in a kind of salute and slightly bow. And I'll say, with a helmet like that, you must be a man of significant prowess. Are you an adventurer? And are you considering traveling to the, what's the name of that place?
Scarlet
Crimson Citadel.
Okay, I'll look at my helmet on the table, I suppose. I'm not wearing it. And glance back at you, and say I am an adventurer, and I am going into the Scarlet Citadel as soon as I can gather enough allies.
Well, we over at this table over here were just discussing the possibility of uniting for such a purpose. Would you care to join us? I made cookies.
Certainly, I'd like to listen to your
Awesome.
deal.
I'll head that way and pull out a chair for him.
I'll follow. And I'll nod. Greetings.
Greetings.
Greetings, sir. My name is Wagner. It's a pleasure to meet you on this fine day.
Then I am Luckling.
Well, Matt, my name is Victor.
This is where we learn. We've been pronouncing it wrong the whole time. Vither. All right, excellent.
And I'll sit.
All right, as you guys are all now gathered together at the table here, you do, Elroy, spot Beth has exited from the kitchen. She's sort of scanning around. She looks in your direction once again, and almost like this light bulb goes off in her head that she recalls that she's got food that's for you in the kitchens. And you see she kind of rushes back that way, and it's mere moments later when she comes out with this very large tray and brings it up, and it's kind of all shaking. But you notice she's an old pro at this and balances it very well as she gets it close to the table and just starts setting the dishes in the middle for all of you that have requested them. And you notice that there is this kind of chipped glass that is filled with this deep amber-colored liquid. And she picks that up and hands it over to you, Locke. And she says, that's what they had. I hope it will meet your palate.
Yes, well, if I can... just not get tetanus when I sip at it. That would be great. Thank you. Thank you very much. I say all that in Elven, other than the thank you.
Okay, fair enough. She looks confused for a moment and looks around you all and says, well, whenever you're ready, that will be 10 copper pieces.
I'll hand her some coins.
And she
It's
takes
significantly more than that.
All right, so a nice, generous tip here for her. So, yeah, she looks very happy with this as she takes the coins and smiles very deeply and says, is there anything else that you'll be needing?
Well, if you see any other adventurers, send them our way. Otherwise, I think we're good for the moment, Beth. Thank you.
She smiles once more before she turns and starts making her way back towards the counter.
So I noted our two human friends did not have the requisite look of confusion on their faces when you spoke in the High Tongue, and then the rest will be in Elven. I'll say, are you fluent in Elven, my human friends?
I don't know. Let me check my I don't think so. No.
Actually, I think you both are.
Okay, maybe I am. I don't remember.
I mean,
It's up to them. I mean, it depends. You could be, regional tongues around here for Yundian. I think it's the same for Luna.
I'm definitely fluent in Elven. Absolutely.
There we go.
It's one of the prettiest languages to describe.
Calligrapher. Excellent. Well, I suppose for those who are not fluent, we should stick with common. How does one go about this? This is my first time gathering together with adventurers.
Well,
My first time as well.
yeah. So let's adventure first, and then we can call ourselves adventurers. How about that?
Nicely put.
Okay.
Well, does anyone know anything specifically about the place we're going?
I don't. And curious, Vither, what brings you to Scarlet Citadel?
My pockets are rather thin.
I
And
see.
I would like to fill them with gold and gems and just items.
Excellent. As good a reason as any. It sounds like we're all quite motivated.
Absolutely. Yes. So, I think maybe we should ask about and see if anyone can, well, take pity on us and give us some information about this death hole that we're about to traipse into. I do know that it is ruins underneath some older structure up above.
I spoke with a young lady named Melba yesterday, and she implied that while timber is their on paper, their primary export here, they sustain themselves on the favors of adventurers. And I'm not sure exactly what she meant. Didn't get a chance to ask.
I think it's called inflation.
On some strange twist of fate, as you announce this, Elroy, to your new companions, you notice the door to the Cage Tavern Inn suddenly opens, and stepping through looks a very self-important gentleman as he steps through the doorway here with this sort of mischievous sort of look upon his face, and he looks around and spots your group very quickly, and with a just straightening of his shirt here and making sure everything's buttoned down well, he begins to make his way over to the table.
That's no gnome. Oh, sorry.
Yes. See, you must be the new adventurers that I've heard so much about, huh?
Well, soon to be adventurers.
That is good to hear. Good to hear, of course. We always welcome your kind here into the village of Red Tower. Well, my name is Vernon. I'm a bureaucrat here in the village of the Red Tower. I am what is known as the tax collector. Certainly you must have heard of such professions, I'm sure.
Yes. I think there's a whole guild that is part of that profession.
Do you have some sort of a badge or sigil?
Ah, I see. You're smart on the uptake. And you notice he kind of moves through a satchel with his hand at his side, and he does pull out this small kind of like silver emblem that appears almost like a hand gripping onto a bag. And he shows it to you with just a flash, just very quickly, before he replaces it, with that self-assured smile coming back. Well, I'm so glad to see you all. Names and all that I'm sure we can get at a later time, but, well, as you may have not have heard, but there is a great business here for adventurers coming to plumb the depths of the Scarlet Citadel. Surely that is what you're here for, yes?
Well, it kind of depends on the tax rate, honestly.
Oh, well, I assure you it is quite reasonable indeed. In fact, if you're willing to pay ahead of time, we can even give you, well, a special deal, you might say.
No.
No.
I die inside. You don't have to worry about collecting any taxes for it. How about that?
Oh, well, but then that means no money has come into the village, you see.
I bought breakfast.
Oh, that is good to hear.
I'm sure the innkeep and the servant, the wench, pay taxes.
Yes, but, well, I'm afraid I must be the bearer of bad news then, because, you see, there is what is known as a adventurer's tax. The Scarlet Citadel is quite a dangerous place, as you may have surmised. We have to make sure that the village is protected, so we try to make sure we can supply those adventurers that arrive with the things that they need to give it the old fighting chance, but that is not cheap, of course.
No, of course it's not. So Vernon, is this tax on a sliding scale, or is it a flat tax?
Oh, well, it is a reasonable adjustment on things that are discovered inside the Scarlet Citadel. Usually the going rate is about 20%, but we have been known to make arrangements from time to time.
Yeah, arrangements, okay. And how might these arrangements be made?
Well, as I said, one option is paying in advance. This shows your good faith and your dedication to your adventurous arts and, of course, the village itself.
And what sort of discount might advance payment grant us?
Well, if you are willing to pay the sum of, say, 15 gold per adventurer up front, then the first time you come back, we will assess no tax on anything brought back. How does that sound?
I mean, it sounds pretty awesome, but
15 gold. I don't have 15 gold. So, sounds horrible.
Don't have 15 gold?
I don't have 15 gold.
It's probably the reason why we're going to the Scarlet Citadel in the first place. So, okay, so 15 gold per head, and we won't be taxed on what our ever again, or simply our first mission?
The first time that you return to the safety of the village, of course.
I see.
How many adventurers never returned from the Citadel? I'm just
Oh,
curious.
quite a few, if I am being honest, but there are some who are quite successful indeed. Have you ever heard the stories of the lost gems of Ludin?
Can you imagine being the fool who paid 15 gold to go in there and die and never return?
I can't imagine.
Well, it's not as though this 15 gold gives you nothing. I would, of course, supply you with, well, some tips that might, exactly increase your chances of success.
oh, now we're talking, sir. Mr. Vernon. Say one of us was interested in this for sure. How would that work out?
Oh, I'm sorry. We cannot do this on an individual basis. The group must be united and sign on the dotted line.
Well, it's something we
I'm
might.
kinda curious.
Yeah, it's something we might discuss. And Vernon, I'm not speaking of us, of course, but other adventurers, have they ever tried to, oh, I don't know, hide an item or two, or put a gem in a boot? And how do you deal with that?
It does happen from time to time. I've even had to call on the services of Conrad in a time or two. You don't want that to happen.
Oh, yes, don't want to meet Conrad. Who's Conrad?
You don't know Conrad? He's a legendary battle mage who's retired to the village.
Oh, good for him.
Well, hopefully you won't need him with us.
Oh, I'm sure not. You all look like very reasonable individuals.
Well, it's good to meet you anyway.
Yeah, where can we find your offices for when we want to come and sign up? We still have a lot of due diligence on this end to take care of.
Certainly, certainly. You can find my office at the town hall.
Excellent. Well, I look forward to seeing you there.
Okay, well, I wish you the best of luck then, and welcome to our fair village, gentlemen. Enjoy the rest of this beautiful day. And with this, you see he does one more kind of smile and sweeps his head around, scanning, not seeing anything else here of seeming interest to him. He makes his way for the door and exits.
I'll check my
Tax-
house before he leaves.
Tax collector, legal thievery. I can't believe this. I should have stayed at the other table. I would have been better off not listening to that nonsense.
Well, unfortunately, it's too late now.
Well, I mean, don't you think it's worth trying this? What is it? A total 60 GP. As to not be charged 20% on however their appraisal system works. It seems like that might be for a first visit not a bad deal.
No, I don't think so. I'm not interested in that.
Yeah, I'm checking my my gold here.
I'll tell you, I mean, if I get 1,000 gold, I won't mind paying 20% of it. I didn't have anything before I went in there, so no. Give me someone money. Give me someone money for nothing. It makes my teeth itch. So no, and I grind my my teeth and ball my fist.
Yeah, it's not on nothing, assuming that we follow their rules and actually report what we find within.
It feels like a shakedown. We'll have to learn our way around the town.
Whether they actually have a tax collector, that's a good idea.
Yeah, I think so. And how much gets added on to the top. So I'm sure he does wondrous business with bright-eyed rich folk that come in. And I'll wink at Wagner.
And yeah, Wagner will definitely nod and seem a bit confused about the entire ordeal.
I'll look over at you, Wagner, and your cloak, and I'll say, are you one of the more let's say religious knights of the order?
To an extent.
That's interesting. You didn't, and I'll touch the side of my nose, you didn't have a little tingling when you looked at old Vernon, did you?
Adam, would I have detected any evil?
No.
Well, you have to actually say you're doing it. I mean, it's not always on. Detect evil isn't always on.
Which is why you definitely don't detect any evil.
Gotcha. Makes sense. I will look back and say, no, not particularly, no.
Oh, okay. Well, good. And remember, I mean, that it doesn't actually work on just evil bumpkins, it only works on, like, super capitalized evil, if you will. Okay. Tax collector. Huh.
I do have a bit of gold that I could add to the party fund if we decide that this is advantageous. But again, the whole thing is a bit confusing to me. Does the village own the Citadel? How is this tax justified?
Sure, it's because when you go in there and you get yourself all stabbed, and then you come out and need to buy a potion of healing, because this place is here, it can help supply us so we can go back in. And of course, for that, they're going to want their take.
Now I understand why so many people bury their gold. They don't want to bring it into a town and be robbed by the tax collectors.
They disappear with their loot into the hinterlands. Interesting.
Yeah, well,
it occurs to me that if there's a roster of people who've paid and who are otherwise in this tax group, that your sister's name might be within.
That was something I was just thinking myself.
What do you want to bet there'll be a charge to look at it?
15 gold, perhaps?
Well, is there any equipment, I haven't had the chance to check that everyone is properly, to my preferences, equipped for what I anticipate. But are there any equipment items that we know that we lack, for example?
Oh, yes. Well, first, looking at all of us, I'm just not sure. I'll look at Elroy again, look him up and down. Yes, just not sure we have a, let's call it a locksmith, if you will. Thus, axes may come in handy. And maybe make sure that we have plenty of torches, looking at the two humans. I've always found that at least one vial of holy water is incredibly important. If one is to be poisoned, a holy water might give them another chance. Otherwise, it's probably no chance after that. And depending on what we're going to be facing, it's always nice to have a silver dagger. But all of that starts to get expensive. And if we're going to give away all our gold to this tax collector, Elroy, I don't know.
Well, I got to say that I'm curious to get underway, but the advice of the Mr. Ambrosi here, or Mr. Yorsky here, terse man that he is, he did say that the surest way to death in the dungeon was to be hasty. So perhaps I should fight against my natural instinct to go and see what all the fuss is about.
I'm anxious to get into the Scarlet Citadel myself. Time is of the essence for me. And I do have a lantern that I purchased that will help to see.
Yeah, I have a lantern as well.
How much oil do we have?
I have two. I guess they're pints or vials.
I did not buy oil and completely forgot. So
It says flask, so I guess I have two flasks.
Yeah, one flask of oil will burn in a lantern for 4 hours, I believe.
Yeah.
Oh.
So it sounds like we need a little bit of equipment. I do not currently have any rope on me.
I've got
I
rope.
don't suppose they sell maps or any such like. But
The other thing that comes in handy, especially without a locksmith, is a crowbar.
I have a crowbar.
Yeah. It's a good piece of equipment to have with you.
Yes, especially for archaeologists.
Oh, you're an archaeologist.
Well, I've done some reading on specific topics. That's all that really means.
Okay. So it's kind of like adventure. The other thing that comes in handy is candles. All sorts of uses for candles, especially those soft kind, like I think they're wax candles or tallow.
Well, tallow is made of animal fat. Wax is made of other materials. I have some candles. How many are you thinking?
Just one per person.
Okay.
And I have some twine. It might make sense for others to have twine. Everyone have some spikes and a mallet. Always comes in handy.
So a warhammer is not what you want with an iron spike, then?
No, Warhammer works.
And we wouldn't plan on being there longer than a couple of days, probably. If it's within walking distance of this town.
Well, I think that's one thing we need to double check.
I think one of you asked a pretty good question. I wonder if they sell a map. If others have been in, maybe they have a pre-created map that they might sell.
It might be information that people don't part with easily.
And I'm also curious, the gentleman's name, the tax collector, it escapes
Well,
me.
Vernon is what he called himself.
Vernon, right. He did mention that the gold did come with tips. I wonder what more specifically that means.
I was curious too. Let's say in the interests of, friends, soon to be friends, well met. It seems like 60 GP would get us each that tax-free on the first exit benefit. That would kind of clear.
It would be 75 if we find another person to join up.
Well, hopefully that person has coin in their pocket.
Hopefully.
Well, anyway, I have some extra coin. I have not purchased holy water because I had not heard that specific story, which seems apocryphal to me. But perhaps we'll have to discuss it further. I'll eye your holy symbol for a second. Well, what's the next step then?
I think it's I think it's a necessity. I'll get a little bit more oil if the oil burns for 4 hours. Vether has some, and I will grab some as well. So we should be good on oil at that point. How critical is the holy water and the mallet? Otherwise, I think we're ready to get on it.
Yeah, the holy water, if I recall right, under equipment adventuring gear.
Out of character, I don't think you do. I don't think holy water doesn't do anything for poison.
And so let's take a look. Religious. So let's see. All right. So a vial of holy water, you can throw it at undead, right? Okay, so if ingested by, so it's good against the onset of lycanthropy as well. If ingested by the victim of a death poison, that will die at the end of the coma period. So you always have one round that you go into a coma, and then at the end of that round you die. So I see, yeah, it all it does is it extends the coma period for 10 minutes. And since we don't have any other way of
saving a person in a coma, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, I guess you're right. So
yeah, and it looks like it's 25 gold. I don't think we're at a point to spend that.
Right. Yeah. So it is kind of pricey. Okay. So no holy water. It'll make more sense once one of us can use a death store, which will help get somebody an extra save.
Agreed. Well, is it worth on our way to some kind of quartermaster shop or whoever is selling us this adventuring equipment? Is it worth talking to our contacts about whether Vernon is on the up and up?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm all about doing the right thing, and if that's the law of the land, then I want to make sure I'm paying my taxes. I just want to be sure we're not being swindled.
Agreed.
So yeah, let's head to a quartermaster. Let me get some more oil, or let me get some oil, and then let's ask around if we can find anybody that might give us some information about this tax system, just so we better understand it.
Sounds good.
And I'll GM, I'll ask the waitress whether there is a shrine or a local, religious organization, church.
All right. So yeah, as you guys are sort of here, wrapping up your decision making and so forth, you do notice once again that the same waitress, Beth, makes her way over, and presumably as you guys have eaten most of this food and drank most of your liquid during this time of discussions, she will quickly start bussing these things. And it sounds like, Locke, you would like to ask her if there is a local religious organization?
Yes. Is there a local church around here or shrine?
And you notice she gives you this like very assured smile and nods and says, "Well, yes, of course. There's the Church of Rao. It's well on the other side of town."
Ah, well, lucky us. And I'll look over at Wagner. Have you already been there, Wagner? No.
I have not.
That might be a good place to stop by. We seem to be in the need of friends.
And peace talkers and wise counsel are always appreciated where I come from. Well, yes, we can make our way there before we go to the haberdashery.
Everyone okay with that?
Let's do it.
Fine.
Cool.
All right, group. So it sounds like you guys are going to exit out of the Cage Tavern and Inn here and make your way out into the village proper. So, finding yourself back in the village proper, you kind of do a quick scan around the village itself. Some of you guys have been here for a couple of days. Maybe you've picked up on some of these locations. Maybe you're more newer here and some of these things don't necessarily stick out. But based on the description that this woman Beth gave you, and she said it's on the other side of town, you guys would be in this area right now, Cage Tavern and Inn. You're assuming she means somewhere over here in this vicinity.
Looks good.
Cool. Yeah, we'll go check it out.
All right, excellent. And who would like to volunteer to be our sort of token leader here? And all that really means is I'm going to throw your token on the map as far as moving around and displaying these party's position in the village.
I think the most charismatic person should do that, and that would be Wagner, I think.
All right, excellent. That works for me. So Wagner, I'm going to shrink you down here a little bit, and this will represent the party's position here in the village. So it sounds like you guys want to essentially make your way across the village and look out for both a shop where you'd be able to buy some things, as well as try to find this location of this church that Beth told you about.
Yes.
Okay, excellent. So you guys make your way sort of past this very large building, and just scanning in it, it definitely has the resemblance to a church or a temple of some kind, but it is very much in poor repair. You can see it is not, it looks like it's been maybe damaged over time. There's missing bricks that are kind of falling off of it. There's parts of the wall that you can kind of just see through, and in the areas that you can see through, you notice even in the sort of stonework on the interior, there's a lot of grass growing through into these holes and things. Clearly, this must not be what she's talking about. You guys make your way past this building, maybe locking it in your memory for a later time. But as you sort of...
Symbolic. Yeah, no symbology or any carvings representing...
How much does Locke know about religions of the area?
A decent amount. I mean, I suppose I could do an educated check.
Sure, yeah, let's give that a shot.
All right. I don't have my token, so I'll just go ahead and roll a 20-sider and add 1. So you set the DC, so 17.
You would notice a odd sort of tarnished silver symbol which depicts a man's hand grasping a bolt of lightning. Based on your recognition, this reminds you of the deity Heronius.
Huh. Well, let's see what the priests of Rao have to say.
All right, excellent. So with that sort of tucked away in your memory, you continue passing by the village green here. You notice another large, sort of strange octagonal-shaped building, and this one is in much better repair, and you can see the actual dressings of Rao that are depicted around this building. It seems as though this has been given great respect to the deity Rao. You can see there's sort of these like long drape kind of things that are hung down on the side of the building. And you can see sort of like a image of a masked figure that anybody who is familiar with Ra would probably recognize as pertaining to his worship.
Oh, lovely. Shall we go inside?
Let's do.
Alrighty, as you guys make your way to the interior of this building, again, noticing this just very odd shape of this building. There's not like a real front, so you kind of have to walk almost in a circle around it until you find the door itself. And stepping on in, pushing that door open, you notice that the interior here, which is sort of a typical church and pew kind of setup, there doesn't seem to be anybody inside here at the moment. Again, being that this is a morning and not a holy day, this doesn't necessarily surprise any of you, but you do notice sort of across the way, standing more towards an area of prominence, you imagine sort of as like where a priest perhaps would be, you see a woman who is knelt currently in prayer.
Wagner, you want to teach us a prayer or two? Maybe we could say a word or two to the deity of this place.
Yeah, absolutely. So Wagner will walk up and take a few moments to say a prayer.
All right, well, we'll jangle next to him, hopefully not disturbing the woman too much.
You notice as you begin to say your prayer, she seems to be wrapping up hers, and she is currently kneeling down. She puts her hands to her knees here as she rises in a one swift motion. You get the impression of someone who's quite lithe on their feet. You see she turns and notices that Wagner is praying and just gives a soft smile while she watches all of you and just sort of kind of waits for that to end. And once it does, you notice she inclines her head towards you, Wagner, and she says, "Greetings, I am Cecilia, priestess of Rao. And you are?"
I am Wagner's son ward, also a follower of Rao.
It is good to see a brother of the faith here in the village of Red Tower.
My reason for being here is a bit unfortunate, but wondering if you might be able to answer a few questions for me.
I shall do my best.
I'm looking for someone that I believe has ventured into the Scarlet Citadel. Is there anything that you can tell me about the Scarlet Citadel?
It is a very dangerous location, and the main reason why anybody comes to our village here. I've never been inside myself, for I have no interest in that life. But I do know that I have repaired the wounds of many poor individuals who have come back there with their heads full of glory and adventure, but their bodies full of wounds.
Can you tell me anything about the local tax system by chance? We were approached by a gentleman claiming to be a tax collector, asking for a pouch full of coin based on taxes entering the Scarlet Citadel. Is this all part of the law here?
It is, yes. The tax system is set in place because it provides the livelihood of the village. Adventurers come here and purchase things and travel into the Scarlet Citadel, and that money then comes back to the village for its sustenance. However, as a follower of Rao, and you see she sort of looks you up and down, do you have any obvious sort of religious iconography or anything would mark you perhaps as a soldier of Rao?
My cloak bears a symbol.
And she'll see she sort of looks at your cloak as she's walking sort of slowly around and sort of eyeing you up and down, and she says, "Are you a dedicated member of our priesthood. Are you a priest or a paladin of Rao, perhaps?
A paladin.
You see she nods with a smile. Well, the temple here has always provided services to the common folk, and thus paladins and priests are exempt from any taxes collected by the church. From the tax collector. So you yourself will not be taxed, but unfortunately, your friends here will not fare as well.
I assume my companions can hear all of this, so I just turn to face them and give them a nod.
That's the good news. The bad news is you'll be paying all your tithes to the church anyway, so you still be broke.
Oh yes, but it all is to such a good cause, Vither.
Mm-hmm.
You heard her. You heard what wonderful things they've been able to provide folks that get injured and hurt. Money well spent.
Mm-hmm.
Cecilia, is that your name?
It is, yes.
Is that Sister Cecilia or
Priestess?
Priestess? Yes. Priestess Cecilia. Is there some sort of a map, or how do people find this citadel?
There is maps in the area, at least of the local region. I don't have any here in the Church of Rao, but you could certainly pick one up over at the Cage Tavern and Inn. The proprietor there is known to have one, or you could check in with at the town hall, and they certainly have some maps of the area that they could sell to you.
So we can purchase a map, and that gets us there. Now, of the folk that came back, that you helped heal their wounds, did they talk of facing any specific threats or creatures, particularly at the top level?
You see she sort of nods slowly. Yes, indeed. I heard one incredibly terrible story of these winged humanoid creatures that were terrible in appearance, but seemed to have a sweet song that lured those who were unprepared to their demise.
Oh, that sounds rather bad. Having a guess at what those are. Were there any other maladies that they came back with? Diseases or excuse me.
Yes, indeed. Some years ago, not any time really recently, but perhaps 3 years ago, if memory serves, there was a gentleman who came back that had a very strange disease that seemed to take effect over time, slowed him down, and I could see that his body was in the process of transforming. Luckily, he was able to get here in time, and with the guidance of Rao applied, we were able to purge the disease from his body. But my suspicion is that if that had not been done, his body would have actually collapsed in on itself. He explained that he unfortunately came in contact with some strange orangish ooze creature.
Ooze. They're not my favorite. Wagner, anything else?
Priestess Cecilia, in the past week to 3 weeks, you didn't happen to see a dark auburn-haired, fair-skinned woman paying her respects here, have you?
And you see she gives you a soft smile. I did indeed, yes. She came here. She didn't spend too long here, but she did spend some time in reflection here in our church. I did try to speak with her, but there were some companions that were very eager to be on their way, and unfortunately I did not have the time. She seems to have your resemblance. Am I mistaken that perhaps the two of you are related?
We are.
I see. Well, the adventurous spirit apparently runs in your family. I do believe her group was traveling to the Scarlet Citadel.
Thank you for that confirmation.
Any outstanding, did any of those individuals look particularly unique?
You notice she kind of frowns for a moment. It pains me to say, for I try to be humble in my dealings, but no, they were not unique, and if I may say so, seemed very much not prepared for the dangers ahead.
I must ask, do you feel the same when you look to us?
And you notice she stops for a moment and seems to eye each of you individually now, as though she's really looking at you for a good solid minute. It is hard to say. You definitely look to be more equipped than they were. Their gear was much more what I would say commonplace, and they seemed to argue amongst themselves and try to convince one another with loud words and exasperated exclamations. So far, you all seem more grounded. Perhaps that will be your salvation.
That concerns me for my sister's sake, but I do feel a bit more relieved for our sake.
I shall say a prayer for your sister and hope that she has not befallen any terrible fate, and that instead she is being guided by the heavens.
The Church of Hieronius that lies in ruins, have the priests abandoned the town, and is there more to the story?
Nothing so dramatic or interesting, to be honest. The village used to be almost strictly devout followers of Hieronius, of varying different levels of fervishness, but over time that changed. I myself arrived here perhaps a decade ago, and I could tell that things were changing in the village just from talking to people. Hieronius wasn't the calling or perhaps supporting the village in the way that they had hoped, and over time the worship of Rao seemed to take hold and become more prominent. There was talk at the time of perhaps just repurposing the temple, but that seemed blasphemous towards the followers who still remain of Hieronius. So instead it has been allowed to remain there, and this building was dedicated in the light of Rao.
Oh. Well, nice. I suppose any other happenings, goings on around the town we should know about? Is there a what should we call it, a quartermaster?
Surprisingly, there is not much in the way of industry here in the village. There are some things that can support adventurers, of course. Outside of the town wall is the smithy, where you could go for weapons or repair, those types of things. As far as sort of general goods, you're probably best speaking with the proprietor of the Cage Tavern and Inn. Ambrosi and his sister run sort of a small side business that works with the traveling merchants that do come here on the odd occasion. They seem to be well stocked, though don't necessarily advertise those services unless requested. Oh, and there was one other thing, now that you mention, or inquire, I suppose. There was a small gentleman who also looked to have the adventuring type about him. He did pop in here just momentarily, asked some questions similar to what you all are asking. He seemed particularly interested about the cottage outside of the village. I tried to give him some information to dissuade him from going there, but I don't believe he took my advice. Perhaps, if you're on your way to the Scarlet Citadel, you could stop there and maybe inquire about his whereabouts and anything that may have befallen him.
In which direction was this cottage?
If you were to head northwest out of the town, you will see that there is the exit through the wall of the village there. It is further southwest as you exit. So if you take the road, you will see that there is a pond west out of the town itself. The cottage is south of that, or southwest.
Southwest.
And as she's describing this, as you guys will recall, this unfortunately is one of those maps where it is not cardinal directions. So the direction she is giving you is head out this way towards this pond and make your way over to
there you go. Okay, perfect. So guys, back to the cage.
Yeah, sounds good.
All
Yeah,
right,
that's where we can buy goods, apparently.
Yeah, and excellent, guys. So, and in the essence of time here, unless there is a particular interest in speaking with Ambrosi, I'm happy to say you can purchase the sort of goods that you need from the Player's Handbook here at standard Player's Handbook prices to kind of move this along a little bit quicker. Is there anything that is more unique or of particular interest that you guys are trying to acquire outside of sort of your standard gear?
You know, having heard that story, I definitely want to get some wax. Does wax candles work for me if I want to stuff my ear? To that story just kind of shook me.
I believe so. I think I even remember reading that out on our page here. Oh, actually, that was under the actions, right? You could put some wax in your ears as an action. I remember reading that.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea, Ether. I think all of us should probably get that.
Yeah, that sounds like a good idea.
Awesome.
I don't know how we're gonna cooperate as a team with wax in our ears at all times, but
Well, I'm not sure you have to have it in there all the time, but if you see something flying towards you, it might be a good idea to have some precaution. I mean, that's not something I would expect to see in a dungeon. I expect to see it on the way there, but you never know.
Yes, it's usually too late by the time you know. That said, we do have two half elves that have some resistance, but I would.
did we also want to? We want to pay for ourselves regarding the tax or not?
I'm happy to donate what gold I can for anyone that doesn't have it.
I'm vehemently against that.
Yeah, I think maybe for this first one, you know, I mean, I guess the question is, do we have 75 gold in the party?
Right, and if it's going to be the flip side of it is a 15% tax, I can't do math super quick, but would we think that we might find that much in gold that it would be more? Like, it just seems way too much to me.
But yeah, I think he said 20%. So if we come out with, let's just call it 1,000 gold, that's 200, right? So it's a rough tax, which is the only reason.
I have 60 I can put to the party, or advance to the party, or gift, or what have you. Which would cover
60, and so then Wagner probably, he looks rich.
Yeah, I can definitely do the remainder, or even split that with you. I just want to make sure we're all on board with it and make sure it seems that's worth it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm not on board with it. I'm definitely against that. And, yeah, no.
Okay, so then we'll just pay the 20% then when we come back, because they're not going to let us go individual. So, you know, we all have to go in or not.
Right. Yeah, it almost sounded like the paladin might not get taxed at all. So we'll see.
Yeah.
They'll all be on his individual shares. So, I mean, Vither, would you take offense if I covered your first visit free of tax, free of extra?
Only if you expected me to pay you back. I mean, it's your goal.
I expect to see you be badass in combat is what I expect. You have that look of you, a fearless person.
Yeah, if you just want to give some guy 15 gold in my name, I can't stop that, and I won't get offended. But if you came back and said, well, I did pay that 15 gold, I'd be a little irritated. Like I didn't.
Yeah, I
ask you
won't
to
bring
do
it
that.
up again.
There you go.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, let me give you half of that then, Elroy. So 30 gold from each of us.
Sounds good.
I'll subtract it now, and I'll go into my backpack where my money is stored, and I'll pull out the 30 gold and hand it over to Elroy.
And well, we probably should hand wave the signing of documents and whatever as well.
We
Unless
can
we wanna
certainly
actually
do
go through all
that.
that.
Yeah, so it sounds like, Elroy, your plan is to make your way to the town hall, try to track down Vernon, and sort of make this official, right?
Yeah, so that if we end up finding any treasure at all, we won't be totally. We'll be covered for the first taxes anyway.
If
And
you're
let's
gonna
make
do it, might as well get the information that he claims, which
Yeah.
sounds like a lie. to have.
exactly, yeah. Make sure he gives us whatever tips he has.
Okay, excellent. So yeah, Elroy, we will assume you have collected those coins. You make your way over to the town hall where the sort of town hall offices and the constable's office is. So as you make your way over there, you do manage to track down Vernon, who still has that sort of self-satisfied smile upon his face. Once you pay this fee and he sort of preps the documents, he indicates that you can sign as the leader of your party. Once the coins are in his hand, it almost seems like the rest of this is kind of just perfunctory. So he will get your signature real quick. And assuming you don't do anything kind of funny there other than just signing your name normally, he will collect that and not seemingly too perplexed. You notice he doesn't mention anything about tips and sort of just leans back, but as you remind him, oh yeah, what about those tips? You'll see he nods and says, oh yes, of course. And you see he kind of moves around in the drawers here, and he pulls out this strange kind of like wooden toggle. And it's got like this kind of really well designed shape on it, and he hands it over towards you and he says, oh, make your way out to the cottage outside of the village proper. Speak with Zula there, show her this, and, well, she'll make sure you're well prepared.
Thank you.
Why do I feel like I need a bath?
And with that, he gives you this sort of like motion with his hand, like you're now beneath him, he's done with you, as he goes back to looking at his paperwork.
Okay, I'll make sure I put all the papers in a nice safe place, which I don't have, but I'll find a semi-safe place, and I'll catch up with the group and share with them the results.
All right, group. And if there was anything, like I say, out of the equipment or standard equipment that you wanted to purchase, you could feel free to do that, as you do find that the Cage Tavern and Inn has a pretty decent supply of those kind of things. Just have to ask Ambrosi. It seems as though he has a variety of adventuring type gear in storage further in the facility itself. So yeah, he will sell those to you guys at listed price.
So I'm not seeing the earwax on the web page. I think I'm missing it. How much is it?
Well, a wax candle is half a gold, I think.
It's a silver piece for or 10, that's 20%, or I'm sorry, 5% of a gold piece for one candle.
Okay, one wax candle. Okay, for the ear. Got it.
Yep.
So I got 10.
Hmm. All right, so let's go see Stula.
Tula at the cottage.
Yeah.
All right, so with your purchases complete, you guys make your way out of the village proper. Passing through the wall, you notice that it is very lightly guarded. There is sort of one guy who you get the impression is not any, certainly not a soldier or anything like that, but more or less a town guard. But he sees you kind of passing by, and he has this like smiled, goofy face on his face as he kind of gives you the nod. You guys pass by, passing through this sort of farm area where there's a little bit of a trail. You notice the pond, make your way kind of around it as you start heading towards the cottage itself. As you approach this cottage from a distance, kind of passing through the woods here, you can notice that there is this kind of odd sort of sense around this place. It might be the hairs at the back of your neck, or like a static charge kind of in the air, something along those lines as you pass by, and all of you, I imagine, sort of maybe looking at one another, notice this, a little bit perplexing. And you also notice a small shape standing in front of the cottage, kind of eyeing it up and down. And as we have our latest player who is now in game, Vic, why don't you go ahead and describe to us what the other characters see?
Yeah, you'll probably see this, this little guy here, this gnome, very obviously a gnome, maybe a dwarf, as he's kind of got a little chin stubble going on. I imagine he's probably just sitting out here looking at this cottage, like smoking a pipe or something. I made the purchases on Discord here, so he's probably decked out in like a huge backpack, like Samwise Gamgee style, and he's kind of just standing there looking up and down this cottage here. Do I notice them?
Yes, I imagine being armored and not declaring that they're trying to be hidden or anything like that, you would certainly hear them coming from a distance away.
Okay, cool. So then, I guess I'll turn around and first person I see, hi.
Greetings.
Hail. Can I help you?
Out of gate, didn't the priestess tell us he was here, right?
Yes, something tells me that this isn't Sula.
No, my name's Flinton.
Ah.
Flinton Gear Pockets.
We heard you might be looking for a group of folks to traverse the Scarlet Citadel.
Yes, yeah, I believe so. Just kind of here checking out the place. But yeah, this is Scarlet Citadel. That sounds fun.
Fun. So you haven't been before, I ask in Gnomish.
Oh, I have not. And I say back in Gnomish.
And have you paid your first time no tax surcharge with the county tax assessor? Have you done that yet?
Yeah, he's just gonna kind of blink at you like confused. Can't say that I have. How much do I owe him?
Well, you don't have to pay the first time, but generally if you go in with a group and you don't want to have to pay taxes on the first set of treasure that you exit with the very first time, it's a 15 gold piece surcharge. We all have covered ours already.
We covered for 4, did we not, Elroy?
Well, 4 total. That's the 4 of us, right?
Well, my taxes are free.
How much was it?
Believe we have an open spot we have already paid for.
Now, yeah, I guess the question would be whether Vernon acknowledged that or not.
And I would say, Elroy, once you got the paperwork and once you handed the coins over, that seemed to be all that Vernon cared about at all. You're not even sure if he looked at your signature.
Yeah, you probably didn't put our names down. That guy wanted the cash.
Well, no, I would have had to put the names down. Well, why don't I go back, and since this is my mistake, and if that is indeed the case...
Sula first, right?
As you like.
While we're here.
Bureaucracy, I never get a chance to do this kind of thing normally.
Well, but I'm really curious, seriously. Look at the document. Did you actually write names down?
And I'll leave it up to you, Elroy, to think if Elroy would have wrote these down. Pretty much, he could have wrote anything, and it didn't look like Vernon cared at that point, so whatever you think Elroy would have done.
Are you guys talking like loudly amongst yourselves about this?
Yes.
Okay. Well, it sounds like I'm on paper.
Well, since we don't even know what your name is, I don't see how that could be.
Flinton.
Yeah.
He kind of shrugs.
Flinton, why were you here at the cottage?
Some lady, what was her name? Cecilia sent me over here, talking something about Rao or whatever, and now
Yeah.
here I am.
And she sent you here to meet
Uh,
someone?
no, just kind of exploring, I guess.
Ah, interesting. What's the cottage look like?
Kind of ramshackle a bit, looks a little bit downtrodden. You do notice that there are all these kind of odd artifacts hanging around the cottage itself. So from the roof, there's kind of like twine, and you notice like chicken bones. You notice some things that you would indicate maybe are like wrapped up pieces of plant material. You even notice something that looks like some straw fashioned into the shape of animals that are sort of artistically set up around this area. And as the wind picks up here and there, you can see them all kind of moving. If they manage to hit one another, some of them even have sort of a resounding metal on metal sound that gives this sort of little chime sound that echoes in this little copse.
Little green patches. So, perhaps we should speak with this Sula and see what they have to say.
I mean, it sounds great to me. Let's go inside.
Yes,
Yes.
and we're knocking.
Yes, Wagner will walk forward proudly and bravely and give a knock to the cabin door.
And as you knock on the door, within mere moments, you can hear the sound of movement from inside. You hear the sound of clinking metal. And then shortly thereafter, the door is open, and standing before you is a very exotic-looking woman. You see, she sort of just gives you this strange look, eyes you up and down. You must be adventurers, yes?
Soon to be.
Yes, soon to be adventurers. Good day, Sula. We were sent here with the understanding that you would have
You see, she puts her hand up as you're trying to talk. Too many words. I only speak to those who survive inside. Show me the toggle.
And Wagner turns to Elroy.
I'll hand Wagner whatever I was handed.
And you see she looks at it and takes it from you and places it in one of her pouch. And you notice she kind of like starts pulling at different parts of her own attire here and pulls out these 2 vials. And you see she hands them over towards you. These are elixirs that will restore your wounds. Good luck. And Esther, she just shoves them in your hands. You hear as she pulls the cottage door shut.
With his hand open and these vials sitting in his hand, Wagner will turn and just like display them to the group.
I'll shake my head.
I guess I'll take them and I'll carefully inspect them in the light.
All right, and does Elroy have any specific knowledge of, say, potions or magic that might lean towards him maybe being able to know anything about these?
He would. I can definitely roll if you'd like.
No, just give me an idea of what kind of his knowledge. Is he like a potion maker, alchemist? What do we got?
His mother and father are retired adventurers, and who live in a druid village essentially. And it's one of the things that his mother can do and has done is create potions and scrolls.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, so I would say, Elroy, as you're looking at these, you've certainly seen a potion of healing before from dealing with your parents, and you know kind of what it looks like. You know there's some variants here and there. Sometimes people make them a little bit different, but you have a general understanding of what they are. This looks similar to that, but incredibly diluted. You get the impression that this is a potion of healing, but it's not going to be as effective as you would expect from a typical potion of healing.
I'll express that to the rest of the group.
No. I don't suppose it's got lines that divide the vial in 3? No? Oh, too bad. I was hoping extra healing.
Stay optimistic, Locke. I like
yes,
it.
but I suppose this is half healing, so the opposite.
Well, Who'd like to hold on to these two?
Elroy, do you think that perhaps the fighters should hold on to them?
That makes the most sense to me.
Yes, in a pinch. That way they are on their person and could get into their mouths as soon as possible.
That means one goes to Vether.
Yes.
And the other to our friend Wagner, then?
Wagner, yes.
Here you go.
Thank you.
Now, I would say always give my friend Elroy and I a chance to heal you first. So, only in extreme last chance situation should you take the potion yourself, but you have it if you need it.
Excellent. Thank you. I will use it most wisely. Do we know what the weight on that is?
It's going to be a 10 gold piece weight or 1 pound.
Yep, that's right. Yeah, 1 pound glass vial.
And similarly, just a word to the wise, Wagner. I know you have the ability to touch someone and heal them in a very minor way right now. I would hold that ability until one of our friends is lying on the floor bleeding out, and then you can, with a touch, save their life.
Yes, hopefully it never comes to that, but absolutely.
Great. Okay, well, that was all fun. So, Elroy, you want to deal with this Vernon fellow again?
Deal with who? Oh,
Vernon?
go back, yes. Yeah, I'll make sure this time to, if I can find the guy, make sure that we're all covered for this first endeavor. Do we want to ask any questions of this gnome that we've just met?
He's probably drinking that money away right now.
Well, then he should be easily found, then.
Yes, Flint, is it?
Flint, whatever you want to call me.
And what is your profession? I'll kind of. What sort of armor are you wearing?
Leather.
Oh, so maybe an archer, gnome archer, I would think.
I like to be quiet on my feet. And you notice, like, he'll like lift up his foot, and you'll notice that like there's no soles on his on like his shoes that he's wearing. They're like almost skin tight to his toes.
I've seen that in the eastern lands, or actually in this campaign, the western lands. I see. And you're good at locksmithing and maybe mountain climbing?
Yeah, I try to be good at doing the picky locky thingy.
Well, that could be quite handy.
Yeah. Picky locky, picking pockets, climbing walls, things like that. Yeah. What do they call us? Thieves. But I don't like to steal. No. I have morals.
Excellent.
Well, if we can all agree here and now that we will report everything that we discover to the rest of the group, we will not take from one another, but we will take from our enemies.
Yeah, and Flinton will like nod very quickly.
I'm glad you brought that up. So equal shares?
Oh,
Agreed.
yes, I assume that was...
Way.
Yeah.
Agreed. Equal shares.
I like that.
And should we discover a veritable windfall of loot, perhaps before we sell anything, we discuss it inside the group and come to an accord.
Oh, you mean like magical items?
Yes, I mean, it's possible. I wasn't expecting to see 2 potions today.
I'll say potions in double quotes.
But yes, if we can all agree to those things and to serve together as if we were long lost brothers and treat each other with the utmost respect, I think we should be successful.
Yes, we should all act with honor.
Agreed.
It's easier to do around you, Wagner. You're kind of inspiring that way.
Yes, especially if we stay within 10 feet of you.
And Wagner blushes.
Yes, well, we want to protect you. All right.
So, Elroy, it sounds like you would like to head back to the town hall and sort of just update your documentation there?
I mean, everybody's welcome to come. It's not that far. I don't know, they're just going to stand here and have a chat or not chat.
Oh yeah, I don't mind going back. I don't want to go in there and talk to the guy or look at him. But I'll stand outside where he is.
So to move us forward a little bit, what I'll say is most of the group, you guys are outside of the town hall here. Elroy, you head in. If anybody wants to head in with you, they certainly could. You are able to track down Vernon. However, when you sort of explain the situation here, he explains that there is a 1 gold piece redrafting surcharge for contracts, and he looks at you expectantly with his hand out.
All right, that's fine. I see how this is going to be.
He takes your
I'll make sure that all of our names are on the document.
All right, fair enough. He takes your 1 gold piece with this little sort of wicked smile and allows the documents to be re-updated, re-stamped, all that fun stuff. And then almost as though he forgot, he says, "Oh, and you wanted a map, didn't you? Oh, yes, here. I can't, of course, tell you how accurate it is, but here." And you see he hands over this roughly drawn map that sort of unfurls as you take it, and you notice the both Red Tower and Scarlet Citadel are clearly designated on this map.
Cool.
By the way, Elroy, I'll speak to you in Nolish. I will say, if you ever want him to be our friend, just let me know.
Might have been a good idea. Might have been a good idea to do that earlier. But...
Yeah, I'm just playing it a little safe right now. Because that can always backfire.
That's very true. Well, I will excitedly show the rest of the party the results of the last visit, and show them the map.
And so just looking at it, are we expecting to rest before we get there, or so it's 24 miles, it looks like.
So assuming this map is accurate, which is certainly debatable, yes, you would expect that based on the travel distance, you certainly wouldn't be able to get there in 1 day's travel.
Okay. Because I'm just, I just want to make sure, before we go in, we get a chance to talk about spells and stuff like that.
Well, it's early enough in the day to where we can make most of the day's travel today still, I think.
Right. So I think, so I'll get my spell stuff together as before we go. And that just means I just have one minor edit to make on my list, but I'll do that once we're going.
All right, so group checking my overland movement rate here. I believe we've got some folks wearing heavy armor. I think we have at least one person whose speed is 90, if I'm not mistaken.
That is,
I think most of us are at a 90.
Yeah.
That's correct.
But I don't think we have anybody that's so hampered down to a 60, right? So essentially we'd be moving at the 90-foot speed, and I think everybody's at least, is anybody moderately encumbered? I'm guessing
Well, I'm moderately encumbered.
Yeah, okay. So I'm guessing we're going to be moving at 12 miles per day based on my overland movement rates here. So, assuming this map is accurate, you would expect it's going to take you 2 days to get to the Scarlet Citadel.
Excellent.
Friends, I do have a horse that can help us carry some things. I didn't originally plan on bringing it and leaving it outside of the Scarlet Citadel, but if you think it would be useful, I could do so.
Can we double check? Can we double check that miles per day? Because I'm thinking that if I have a 90 move, moderately encumbered, but the chainmail is the same thing and they don't stack. I think locked at full normal movement.
Yeah, so I'm normal, but yeah, I think so. We would be moving at 90, and I don't remember how far that means. Part of it is what's the terrain.
Good point.
But so 90.
Primarily you're expecting to be moving through forest on your way to the Scarlet Citadel.
Okay, so forest times 1. So we probably would hit the 18 mile. It's just I think what this is doing is it's kind of, our speed is going to be at the speed of the gnome, so 90. And then the gnome is unencumbered, so he's the slowest guy. The rest of us are 120, and then we're got that moderate thing. So we would otherwise move at 18 miles. So that's how that chart is read.
Sure. Yep. So that would take you still 2 days to get to the Scarlet Citadel, though.
Correct. Yeah. So we're gonna have to sleep in the forest, which is always fun.
I don't see any reason to not knowing how long we're going to be inside the place. Wagner, I don't know if leaving a horse out on its own is that good of an idea.
Yeah. Other than it has way more hit points than any of us, and is just a total badass in the forest.
Yeah, that was my concern. Leaving it out because we honestly don't even know how long we'll be in there, right? Like.
Not more than a couple of days, I would think.
Yeah, and so leave it in a couple of days on its own. So I'll leave it here in Red Tower.
Yeah, that sounds good. I mean, I've seen too many people, have to come up with new names for new horses too many times.
Then you get to Horsey 1 and Horsey 2, right?
Yes.
Yeah, once we know more about it, it's just an option on the table. Like once we learn and become Scarlet Citadel veterans, then perhaps, we find some treasure we need help carrying back, then we know that option's out there for a later time.
And they're called men-at-arms. Let's hire us some guys.
All right, so it sounds like you guys have your plan in place here. You're going to travel overland, passing through the forests on your way to the Scarlet Citadel, expecting to sleep overnight, and then get to the Scarlet Citadel sometime during that next day. So with that plan in place, as we are about halfway through our session here, guys, let's go ahead and pause and take our 15-minute break.
All right, see you guys in 15.
Alrighty, folks, we are back on the second side of our session. Group, you guys have left the village of Red Tower, and you are currently transitioning between the forest on your way to the Scarlet Citadel. So, as you exit from the village itself and start heading southeast over land, you have this rough map that you were able to procure from Vernon, the tax collector there in the village of Red Tower. You're finding that overall this forest is pretty easy going. It's not exactly the harshest of forests. There's not like a ton of overgrowth here. You're able to find these sort of ways to travel. Some areas are not even particularly heavily forested or treed. You find sort of areas that are open, these copses, some where there's more like open meadows and fields. As you guys have this long travel ahead of you on this rough map, is there anything particular you're doing during this time?
Well, Elroy is going to kind of take the lead as far as making sure we're headed in the correct compass heading. I'll also forage, since I can do that at no loss to movement rate. And I'll kind of try to stay in the front of the group.
Yeah, maybe check for tracks.
Check for tracks.
Yeah.
And whenever I see tracks or trails or anything like that, just see what kind of general fauna is in the area, that kind of thing.
I'll go bow in hand and toward the back of the group.
Yeah, I think Wagner will be walking sort of in front for the most part, but he's going to spend the time talking to his new friends, wanting to get to know them, and just to know them better.
Smart.
Okay, excellent. So yes, you guys are making your way through the woods here. Elroy, you're kind of out front and you are foraging, and yes, you're finding that this is a fairly typical forest. So between perhaps small game, think like rabbits, maybe even some squirrels here and there, then looking at plants, tubers, some berries, those kind of things, you can certainly forage enough food to sustain one person for one day while moving at normal speed. The rest of you guys just sort of keeping your eyes open, Locke having your bow in hand just in case. This is kind of odd based on the discussions that you guys have had and knowing what's ahead of you, but this seems like a very peaceful walk through the woods, and you're finding that, sort of like hours are passing here and you're just looking around, chatting with one another, looking out for anything dangerous, but this is probably some of the peacefulest terrain that you guys have passed through. Perhaps the gleaming glades are not so bad.
Yeah, until they are.
Have you ever all heard the term the calm before the storm?
Constantly.
Yeah.
It seems to apply to this.
All right, so guys, as you have traveled essentially a full day here through the forest, passing by this terrain, making your way closer and closer to the Scarlet Citadel proper, or at least where it's supposed to be, based on this map, you eventually find yourself noticing that the sun in the sky is getting kind of low and nighttime is not too far away.
Elroy, is there a high ground someplace?
I'll try to find us some high ground with a little bit of tree cover as well. Good visibility. If someone's camped there before, all the better.
Sure, yeah. So spending maybe 10 minutes or so scanning around this area looking for something suitable, you're easily able to find something that meets your defensive needs as you sort of eye it and you think, yeah, this seems to be proper. It doesn't look like there's any way from any direction that someone's going to get the jump on you, or anything that is too unexpected would be able to get you from this area. So yes, it seems to be a proper camping location.
Excellent. Well, I guess we'll begin to set up camp. I need to say a prayer to the sun as it departs the sky. But after that, I'm happy to help with anything. Wagner, you should discuss marching, not marching order here, but watch order.
Yes, good call. Does it make more sense for those that can see in the dark to be the watch?
No, we have to take a turn.
I'd suggest someone with infravision on every watch as well as someone not.
So a little double up then. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'll take the first. If somebody that can see in this blasted darkness.
I'll do first watch with you.
Excellent. And Vither's got second, and who wants to take second with him?
I can do that. Well, hold on. How many of us are there total? There's 5 of us.
Yeah.
Yeah, we shouldn't have anybody on watch by themselves. So why don't we split the evening into 2 watches, 2 6-hour watches?
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, either way, I've got to get up and do a little studying anyway, so.
Okay.
I must admit, this is my first time sleeping outside the luxuries of home.
It's kind of bracing, isn't it?
Yeah, I think you would get to like it. Especially
preferable with
especially as you go to sleep. If you see that you're not actually on a battle map, then everything's okay. All right, so first watch.
All right, so you guys have your first posted watch. You guys have this set up in a way where you have at least 2 people on every watch, and just keeping your eyes peeled for anything out of the ordinary, anything strange. This ends up being, again, fairly safe overnight. Are you guys doing a campfire or anything, or are you just sleeping, roughing it?
Well, if we're going to have a light, I think I would just as rather have a campfire and use that as to not take up any, oil or anything. So yeah, I think so.
Yeah, but embers, so something where we've got a torch nearby so he can light it quickly, but otherwise, just embers.
Okay, so low flames overall, just really low light here from the fire. But yes, there's plenty of wood down and dead here to make small flames, small fire. So you guys are able to do that. And yes, you find overall this seems to be a very easy, peaceful night. There's no dangers whatsoever during this night. It is very calm. However, over the course of the night, as each of you guys takes little different bouts of sleeping, getting rested where you can, I would like everybody to give me a saving throw against spells.
All right. Now it's kind of, can you maybe drop our tokens, or I guess we could roll it off the sheet, but it kind of wants, those saves want, I don't know. I guess we can just roll 20-siders. And
if it's easier to drop tokens on the map, you can feel free to drag and drop your token right from the handout section onto the map, if that will be easier with the script.
Holy cow, I'm tiny.
And then, and then what you do is you select your token, and you'll see the save button as a token action.
So for Veether, just real quick, Veether, you're just going to put your cursor, and so it's going to turn into a little hand on your character's name in the handout section. You're going to click and hold down left click and just drag to the map and let go, and that will drop your token. There you go. Perfect.
And you said it was a spell save?
Yes.
Is it mind affecting?
Right.
Yes, it is.
So then what you would do when you get your save menu, find spell and you click whiz. But for those of you like Flint, you're going to click race if it's magic, and then add your wisdom bonus as a mod.
Okay.
Well, did we get to add our wisdom bonus? Is it mind affecting?
It is mind affecting, yes.
How do I find my wisdom bonus?
Is it affected by me being really close to my buddy Wagner? Not that it matters. I rolled a 1, so.
I would say no in this case, because he's probably sleeping on and off at, whether it would be in effect at that moment.
Okay. I'll attempt not to snuggle up to him,
So how do I... So I hit race.
Yep. And then do you have a wisdom bonus? I don't think so. Then just hit submit after that. There you go.
All right, excellent. So everybody's gotten to throw a saving throw now, which is a good way to start, get you guys into the script. So I see Locke there has rolled a 1. Locke, I'm going to ask you to roll a 1d100 now.
Okay. Give it to me. There we go. Something in the middle.
Dun, dun, dun.
Okay, so overall, this is a very peaceful night. There's nothing really out of the ordinary that is going on here. Everything seems to be very calm. However, at some point during the night here, Locke, maybe this is when you're starting your watch, shortly after you're ending part of your watch, as you're sort of resting, snuggling down, just trying to really focus your mind for the challenges that you know are going to arrive tomorrow, you have this strange fit of sort of like an odd dream that seems to really hit you and stay with you over time. When you finally wake from this, you search your mind for exactly what this was, and you remember seeing a small red fish. It was circling around you for a moment and then fading into the blackness of the ocean deep. And this sticks with you very solidly. You're not sure why, but this memory of your dream is very, very prominent in your mind.
Okay. I'm sure that's going to come in super handy. At least I don't wake up and there's like strange mushrooms growing off my skin, so that's a good thing.
That's not this part of the forest, no.
All right. Well, I'll share that with Elroy and anyone else that wants to listen, just to say, hey, did anybody else have a dream of a red fish that fades into the blackness of the ocean deep?
I did not, but do you think it was a portent?
No? Okay. Yeah.
Did it feel like an omen to you?
It probably means something.
You're probably pregnant.
There you go.
All right, so as you guys wake up, I imagine you're sort of breaking your camp here, eating some of your rations, perhaps drinking some of your water out of your water skins, and getting yourself prepared and ready to continue journeying closer to the Scarlet Citadel based on the directions of your map. Is there anything in particular anybody's doing other than those sort of generic tasks before you're continuing on your way?
We are
going to pray to the sun as it rises.
Yeah.
You are certainly able
and
to do
I'll ask if anyone has any thoughts on prayers I might prepare for the coming day. Normally I take, because I can switch out for healing, I usually take a sanctuary, a command, and the other one's variable.
Darkness, yeah. Yeah, because I was thinking two of those commands and a darkness. Darkness is good to break up the battlefield. In this particular game set, you can't cast darkness or light on objects. You can cast them on creatures, or you can cast them on a point in space. And so usually we'd use darkness to, foil the sight of enemies that are shooting at us from afar, for example. The other thing, the reason why we take command other than just to use it is we do have the rule where you can spontaneously cast cure spells. And when you do that, you take the casting time and material and these spell components of the spell that you're replacing as the cure spell. So it's a really good way to do this. Command is verbal only, so it's a quick spell. You can cast it almost even in combat. So yeah, Tom, I think
the other option that I was thinking is detect magic, just in case we did encounter a large pile of stuff.
Yeah, but
I think we're getting ahead of ourselves with that.
Yeah,
I agree.
I kind of think hold everything for cures unless unless we're just absolutely getting pinned down and then we have to use a darkness or something. All right, I've got 2 sleeps, so alrighty.
After hearing about Locke's vision, I think Wagner would kind of stroll about the camp and detect evil in different directions. He's just a little nervous, and in his experience, these type of signs are very ominous.
And as you spend some time doing that, Wagner, focusing, using your special ability to detect evil and sort of scanning your vision around, seeing if anything pings or takes notice to that ability, nothing does.
Make sure you look at me too.
I'm scared now.
Well, who knows? It's spell saves. Okay, so I think we're good to go.
All right, guys. So with everything taken care of here and this day of travel behind you, the morning, you guys have again taken care of some of your provisions, and then you continue traveling. After traveling for about another 2, maybe 2.5 hours, you can see reaching up over the forest here is a large building that must be the Scarlet Citadel.
It's only a model.
Have I noticed any, or can I now attempt to notice any tracks that are generally in the area?
You've seen what you would consider to be sort of typical things, deer perhaps, maybe some occasional wolf tracks or other type of wild dog tracks. Nothing that would give you any kind of cause for concern or seem out of the ordinary.
How close are we to the actual entrance of this building?
You don't know where the entrance is. There's still woods between you and the building itself. You can just see the higher part of the building sort of peeking over the top of the woods here. So you realize you're probably within maybe 10-minute walk of being on the grounds.
Okay, cool.
So before we go up, so it's kind of a question for the group, because part of the issue is we're so low level that reconnaissance is super, super dangerous. So we make a ton of noise moving around, except for Flint and Elroy. But unless somebody wants to raise their hand and risk their lives, I think we just all stick together. Does that sound like a plan?
I agree.
Yeah, I agree.
Splitting up is usually a very bad idea.
Oh yeah. One of the things that I will suggest is, could I, because I have a natural, because of my class, when we get to the point where we think that we're close enough where we could find traps, could I just be passively detecting traps?
So I believe you have to declare a scan action, if I'm not mistaken, to detect traps within a short area around you, basically a 2x2 square.
Yeah. So there's two ways. The elves have the ability to scan for stuff passively, but Flint, for you, you really have to stop. You have to pick an area, and you have to search it, and that's how you find traps. So it's not a passive thing. It's something you have to spend time doing.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah. But
Which, I for one am perfectly happy to move slower to enable you to stare at the ground.
So am I.
Yeah, every so often.
So I think perhaps the most important question at this point is, you guys now see this, you know where the Scarlet Citadel is. Which direction would you like to approach it from?
We're facing its west face, is that right?
That is correct.
Is there any point in walking around, as you said, with this armor that I'm clanging around in, I feel like I'm making a ton of noise here in the woods. Does it even make sense to loop around or just straight to it?
We could, yeah. Why don't we just, on the side of caution, come in from the north or something? Is that okay?
Yeah,
Sounds
okay.
good to me.
All right, not hearing any disagreements with that, you guys make your way a little bit around so that you can approach the Scarlet Citadel from the north. I'm going to give you guys a brief description of what it is you see here before moving you to a different map. So, the structure stands atop a low hill that slopes off gradually all around. The slope is gentle, but the ground is rugged, broken by ravines, boulders, tangled brush, and fallen trees. When the keep was in use, the ground around it must have been cleared for several hundred yards in every direction. Since the fort's fall, trees and brush have regrown right up to the fortress and even inside the courtyard. The fort was breached at the northeast and southwest corners, but the rest of the walls and the main keep still stand. The outer walls are 15 feet high. The main tower rises 40 feet, and the secondary keep is 30 feet tall, but heavily damaged. Despite the damage and decay, it's easy to see why it was named the Scarlet Citadel. The red stone blocks used in its construction stand out starkly against the greenery. No one comes here anymore except hopeful adventurers like yourselves.
Elroy, you want to lead us in, kind of eye for tracks?
That sounds good.
Oh,
Definitely
interesting.
want to be looking for tracks.
So given this kind of look at things here, I will stay with a bow in hand.
So what I'm looking at directly in front of me is a wall.
It is indeed, yeah. So this is the wall of the Scarlet Citadel. You can see overhead. Again, unfortunately, 3D is pretty challenging to depict here in Roll20, but this is what would be the main keep. So this rises 40 feet high, so you can certainly see this. But yes, this is considered the outer wall.
So you want to maybe make our way to your left, Elroy, or the
My left.
the west. If the top was north.
Yeah. Well, in fact, we could actually have, since we have a gnome climber, it might not be a bad idea to send them.
Yeah, let's go ahead. I'm gonna move over this way if this is okay. Here.
You can, and as you get there, Locke, you notice almost immediately where this part of the wall is broken down, there is just rubble piled about 8 feet high. So you can't actually see past it, but you can tell that the wall is certainly not solid there. It is simply just piles and piles of rubble.
So maybe, Elroy, that's where we want to go in, but I just want to get a sense of it's daylight and all of that fun stuff outside, right?
It is indeed daylight. The sun is shining.
I have my short bow out also and have an arrow knocked.
So it looks like there's rubble. We can go over there, but it also looks to me like there may be a corner to my south there. Elroy, do you want to come over and maybe we check that out before we start scrabbling up the screen?
It looked like there was a path where I was.
Well, and we'll check that area too. I think we just want to do a little investigation. We're not going in yet. Just you see where I'm looking, which is down here.
Yes.
See how that looks like a corner there?
Indeed, it does. I'll creep up and take a look if everyone's prepared.
And probably a good out of character note, or sort of a note keeping kind of note here. Generally speaking, I will assume your tokens are where they are until we get into some type of activity. So if you are, say, far away from one another and then something happens, there won't be an opportunity to say, well, I would have been following here. So you'll want to make sure your token accurately represents where you want your character to be.
Thank you. Yeah, there you go, Ether. All right.
I'm going to creep south, paying attention to my environment.
Okay.
All right. And as
Being
you're
Elroy
making-
creeping up.
I'm watching that hole where the rubble is, and I'll have the arrow knocked.
Okay, and as you're looking in that direction, Locke, I would say all of you there can hear the sound of a small amount of rubble cascade. Perhaps a few pebbles here or there, like rock clanking against other rocks. Elroy, as you're making your way south here, noticing these sort of buildings here built into the side. They're clearly some kind of separate part of the Scarlet Citadel as opposed to the main keep or even the secondary keep, but it's hard to make out what their purpose would be from this side.
And do I hear the rubble also?
I think you're close enough. I would say yes.
Did you guys
And
hear that?
Where did it come from?
So what you're looking at here is basically rubble piled up about 8 feet high and sort of a roughly wall-ish shape, and
Gotcha.
you think it came from this side of the rubble.
Did you guys hear that?
Yep.
I'll nod.
As you're looking at one another and readying weapons, you suddenly hear a voice calls out from a distance, but in a shout. Is there someone there?
Great.
Please, if there's someone there, I need help.
Somebody needs our help.
It's in common.
It is uncommon, yes. It sounds very distressed.
Um,
I'm gonna put wax in my ears.
Okay.
What?
And maybe we will use a status marker for this. And I'm assuming you probably have one in here, Dave, that won't have any kind of mechanical or API effect, but we can use just for representation?
yeah.
Oh, actually,
like-
you already have it deafened. Excellent. Perfect.
Yeah, deafened is the one.
Yeah, Wagner, hearing that somebody is in trouble, kind of starts moving toward the rubble pile and wants to see if it looks safe to traverse.
So, trying to sort of pinpoint this location of this voice, you realize it's not really close to you. So, it does not seem to be connected to the sound of the rubble or these little rocks that you heard. This rubble does look traversable, but eyeing it, you're a little bit concerned about its stability.
Yeah, Adam, you said that this part of the wall right here was about like 15 feet high.
That is correct, yes.
Okay. Do I kind of get the impression that it might just be almost like an outer wall that like opens up into, what was the term, a cloister or whatever?
I would say from your approach, what you saw, you believe there's a courtyard probably on the other side of this wall. You don't know the specifics or exactly what's there, but yes, this seems like the outer wall, and the inside you assume to be some kind of courtyard.
Okay. Is it possible for me to try to kind of traverse up this wall a little bit to kind of peek on the other side?
Hey, it's D&D. You can try anything, right?
All right. I'm gonna march over here, and I'm gonna peek over the edge here. I'm gonna see what we could do. Take a look. Any objections?
No, and seeing what Flint's doing, maybe I'll go over help him. If he needs like a boost.
Be ready to catch him if he falls.
Okay.
Gnomes are not the best climbers.
So what I'm noticing here for a thief, they have pretty decent climb walls, but it sounds like that may be modified by being a gnome. But Dave, would you like to describe to Flint how he is going to make his climb walls check?
Yeah, so you're going to click on your token, click special abilities, click thief skills, and then select climb walls. And it's going to ask you some questions, and you're going to ask the GM, and he's going to tell you the answers to those questions.
Okay.
Almost fully automated. Lovely.
Yeah, that's cool. It's got rough, fairly rough, smooth, very smooth, polished, and then whether or not they're slippery or slightly slippery.
I would say fairly rough and not slippery. Okay, and then we've got Wagner there looking to try to catch him. So, based on what our what I see here, and I'm noticing that nobody sees this but me, unfortunately, you have failed this check, Flint. So, let's see. You rolled, failed, and it says, make a dex save versus petrify or fall. So as I'm reading that, it sounds like you need to make a save versus petrify.
Using dex. So then what would be my modifier for that? Because it's still asking me to input a modifier.
Yeah, it just gives you the ability to add a modifier in case there was one. But in this case, there's probably.
Cool.
Okay, excellent. So I'm assuming the way I read this is you failed to climb the walls, but you didn't exactly fall because you made your save. So you started climbing and then maybe just slipped down, but no danger to yourself.
Yeah, usually what that means is he started to fall, but he caught himself. And and because his movement rate's so slow going up the wall, generally, he would have only been up. I don't know. You normally the roll goes I think half. So you move up half your move, and then that's when the roll happens.
Okay, so the script here says climb rate is 18 feet per round, so it sounds like he'd been about 9 feet up before he started slipping. And I imagine since Wagner's standing there right below him, he pretty much just reaches a hand up and has got him.
Yep.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, Wagner will kind of position his shield above him so that Flint can stand on the shield like a scaffold.
Yeah. And I'll yell over there, you still okay? What's your name?
Come on, I need help. There's a creature. It keeps, I'm in a tree.
That's fine. Hey, I'm Locke. What's your name?
I'm Bruggen.
Sounds pretty dire. We need to hurry this along.
Any accent that I can discern?
From this distance and at a shout, probably not. I would say it doesn't sound particularly exotic, but nothing sticks out to you.
Okay. In that case, I will wax myself. So I'll get...
and in case nobody else was following along, that means putting wax in your ears.
Yeah. Less chatty here. There. Okay. And what I'll say to you guys is let's see if we can get up this debris or these rocks.
Yeah, if one person can get over with some rope perhaps and throw it back over to help the stability. Can you guys hear me okay with that, Wax?
He says he's in a tree. Why would he be inside this building?
So in any case, I can't. So I'm just gonna.
I can't either.
Yeah.
I'm assuming, Vither, that there's this is an outer wall, I'm thinking, and then there's probably trees and whatever. I'm just guessing.
Well, I want to know, is that the case? I mean, we have gaps that we can see through, right?
Not here, because you're looking at the outer wall and then you're looking at rubble piled 8 feet high. You could certainly try to pull yourself up on the rubble to look over, but based on the shout of the voice, you're quite confident that this person is not really close, as in just on the other side of the rubble.
Yeah, so there's a northeast that you said had a gap in it, and then there's a southwest that you said had a gap in it, right?
Yeah, so the description's referring to the gaps in the wall proper. So this here is like a real actual standing wall, as it is here. This is all rubble. So this is what they mean by gap in the wall. It's simply 8 feet high of rubble rather than a 15-foot proper wall.
I'll look at the group and I'll say, nod if you're okay with us traversing south to see if we can enter that way.
If you point, also I will nod and point.
Yeah, and I'll point.
Yeah, let's find the main entrance then, because this sounds dangerous, going through rubble.
All right. I'll bow to Elroy and motion him forward. After you, sir.
Yeah, I think I'm going to keep the short bow out.
Yeah, long bow out.
And I'll continue forward, and I'll stop every couple of feet, making sure the party's with us.
Yeah. At least we don't sound so loud anymore.
No kidding.
I guess as we're walking past, I'm gonna like kind of lean up and then ask Vether, why are they putting wax in their ears?
In abundance of caution.
Huh.
It's kind of odd. I mean, they're the ones most resistant to charm.
Okay, that's weird. Okay.
But I'm not mad at them. I don't blame anybody that's cautious.
And the walls are 15 feet tall here in this corner also?
They are indeed, yes. And where you see that black at the bottom of your map, you can think of that as the further away from the Scarlet Citadel, and the plains continue on, trees spotted in here and there.
Gotcha.
All right, you guys continue making your way slowly around this outer wall, and you hear the voice calls out again, "Are you still there?"
Is it closer this time?
It does sound closer, to your west.
No, I can't hear it.
Right, those of you with the wax in your ear, you definitely do not hear it.
Yeah, we're getting there. I'll yell out.
Probably a gnome.
I hope so.
I have a vision of a monster using mimicry, just waiting for us to walk into its clutches.
I'm agreeing.
As you get to this area, Elroy and Locke and Wagner, you notice as you sort of approach the Scarlet Citadel, this is that other location where you see a bunch of rubble piled up at that 8-foot mark, where this wall is also destroyed.
Gotcha.
Can I take a look for tracks to see if anybody's gone over it recently?
You can. Now, is there a special skill you need to do here to determine more precisely what kind of tracks? I believe that is a special ranger skill.
Yes.
Okay, and I don't know if that's a percentage-based one or if that's just... oh, there you go. Okay, you probably just have to do that database piece.
Yeah, let me restart my character scripts and ability scripts real quick.
Yeah, I better just do that too.
So do we see, like, over top the rubble or the wall, do we see, like, the tops of trees or any greenery from here?
So you do see, I will say, one tree that is here, but you're certain that's not where the voice is coming from. There might be just a tiny... Yeah, so Locke, as you motion in that direction, thinking that that may be where this is coming from, indeed, you do notice a man perched up in this tree who is about 20 foot up in this tree.
Okay. There we go. So a guy. That's... Okay.
Or so he appears.
And I'll move back here and I'll say there looks to be some arrow slits in the walls over that way. I'll put my bow up and I'm gonna take my shield out. So I'll ready my shield here. Boink.
All right, so I want to make sure I'm doing this fair here, Dave, for the Find Tracks. So Elroy has rolled a Find Tracks, and I see I've got a Find Tracks base check and a Find Tracks check adjustment. And I'm trying to compare that to what I see here on the website for tracking. Is there an easy way to read this, or is this like calculating all the modifiers and comparing it to the rolls?
And so...
given the fact that there's actual other stuff going on, the amount of time that it would take me to like look at the tracks and communicate that with the party, that's less important than if somebody taps me on the shoulder and says, makes the symbol of actual, people sighted or something.
What I do is just take a look at, what he rolled and hand wave it at this point, and just say, is it close enough to
Fair
identify?
enough. You definitely identify tracks. I will say they seem to be larger than wolf tracks, like you spotted on your way here, Elroy, traveling through the forest. So they're larger than that. But you notice that there's some kind of oddity to them, where typical animal movement, most typical animals, four-legged would be what you're most commonly going to see here. It almost seems like maybe this creature or whatever's making these tracks has an irregular cadence or gait.
Wow, that's super concerning.
All right, I'll pull a spear. So I'll be walking with my spear and shield. All right. And at this point, based on all this info, I would go ahead and unwax one ear. Not that it helps me in any way.
I'm going to unwax one ear when I see him doing that, and I'll say, what's going on?
Do we have a half-deafened status marker?
No, yeah, it doesn't. It won't help us. But, unless you want to throw us a bone. But I say, I see a guy up in the tree. He looks legit. Could be a bait for us. But what did you notice anything around the rocks?
Yeah, there's a recent track of something that looks larger than a wolf and has an irregular cadence to its step. I'm not sure what it is. It's very disconcerting.
But animalistic for legs.
Was it walking on 2 or 4?
You are quite confident this is a four-legged beast.
A four-legged beast.
All right. Well, beasts are actually okay. They're not usually good at tactics. Remember, if you have a spear in hand, you can set for charge if some creature doesn't actually surprise us, which is unlikely. All right, I'm going to move up. Elroy, you want to come with me?
Can I stay behind your shield?
Yeah. And from here, I'll yell to the guy. I'll say, "What are you doing in the tree, my man?"
And he puts a hand to his mouth and he says, "The creature! It's been... Oh my God! There it is!" And here's where we're going to see if you guys happen to be surprised.
Nice.
Oh, map.
Yes, I really dig this one. All right, so I'm going to pull up my GM menu, and we are going to determine if anybody is surprised. Now, I know we've got a ranger in the party, so I want to make sure I'm doing that fairly as well. Just double-checking the ranger surprise chance.
17.
Okay, so PC surprise chance is going to be 17, so I'll keep that. And then monster surprise chance, that should stay unmodified, so 33.
Yep.
And then no additional modifiers here, so we'll just keep those both at 0. Okay, so there is no surprise involved here. So I'm going to start up the initiative just to make sure we've got this going. Okay, so looks like that did not work. So what you guys are going to notice is a beast which looks like a black bear emerges over this wall, or not over it, but from the side of the wall, which looks to be coming from what you discern to be kind of like the main entrance into the courtyard. As it pulls over in this direction, you can see it is a fairly large black bear, but you notice that it is badly emaciated. Parts of its fur are just missing. You see weeping red, bleeding sores there through these patches of fur. As it turns and looks in your direction, you can see sort of like a bloody-eyed madness as it begins approaching you. So I know you changed this recently, Dave. I want to make sure I'm doing this right. GM menu, I should just be able to hit Start Initiative Tracker for number 2, correct?
Yeah, you want to get the turn tracker open.
Yes, and that does not look like it's working at the moment, so I can manually open that maybe.
Yeah, you always open the turn tracker manually.
Ah.
And then there you go. And you got that going, so that looks good.
Okay, good deal. So we are now on step 4 of combat controls, which is everybody declares. So I know this is the first time we've all declared, so let's just kind of walk through that briefly once again. So, so first, we're all going to click on our respective tokens, and we're going to click the declare button, and we're going to follow the prompts that it gives us for what action we're declaring.
And I will say to the group that I am going to set for charge, because this thing looks mighty angry and is probably going to run at us to chew our throats out.
Now, if it does charge, would Elroy be in melee with it? Because it looks like I've got 2 guys ahead of me.
If it charges right up to lock, you feel like you would be in, but I will also say, keeping in mind what you see around you, you realize that this creature does not have a clear path to you. There's all this rubble that it would have to traverse.
Gotcha. Okay.
So that changes things.
So far I've got 2 declarations. If anybody needs help with the declaration, feel free to speak up and we can guide you on what to do.
Yeah, is it like possible to move and then make a ranged attack, or am I stuck here and I have to use like my action to move?
So you can declare movement or you can declare shooting. I don't think you can do both, right, Dave? There's no additional movement with shooting?
Correct. Yeah, so you just, so you can declare I want to move, or you can declare I want to do a missile. And remember, you can, if you're shooting a missile, you can basically shoot. If the other guy is moving, you can shoot mainly when you want to, but once it comes up on your turn. So if this guy's moving from the beginning of the round, he'll probably, come within your ability to shoot him, and then you can take your shot.
All right, excellent. Looks like I've got all 5 of you declared. The enemy is also declared. So going back up to my menu here, we are now going to roll initiative. So one member of the team is going to help us out here and roll initiative.
I'll roll.
Oh, I'll do it.
Thank you.
Okay, excellent. So you guys will win initiative. So now that we have rolled initiative, we are going to click update turn. Ooh, let me open that one real quick.
Yeah, go and actually go to character scripts game. I can't see the game scripts, but open game scripts and see if you can put that in your macro bar and run it from there. I'm not sure.
Okay, yeah, we'll give that a shot. So I've got update turn in my macro bar.
There we go.
Okay, good deal. All right, so we've got the declared actions. The bear is acting first here. So now I heard you say that if somebody declared missile, they can actually shoot while it's moving. Is that right?
Correct. You can shoot kind of when you want to across their move. And so, for example, for me, I'm going to wait until he gets really close to us before I throw my spear.
Got it. Okay, so ready missile. So I will start moving the bear. If somebody's choosing to do something, let me know. So yes.
As soon as I can, I'm going to shoot it.
Yeah.
Okay, feel free to do so. So as because you've readied missile, then you're firing as it's essentially clambering over this rubble.
Okay. Are there any modifiers, Dave or Adam, that need to apply?
Nothing that sticks out to me.
Nope.
Okay.
All right, good.
Okay, so that was essentially 2 shots, right, from a bow, and one of those arrows manages to connect, and one of them missed. Okay, excellent. So the bear continues moving.
All right, at this point, I'll throw. And Flint, were you taking a shot?
Yes. Actually, yeah, that sounds like a good time to do it here, actually. Sorry, I'm like back and forth looking at like a lot of the rules and stuff.
No worries. We're all going to be slow. I know we all will. At least I will be, and some of you will be based on, learning this rule set, so no worries at all.
So I hit attack.
Yeah.
And then my light crossbow. I have to choose a target. There we go.
Okay, excellent. So you also get a shot off as that bowstring of the crossbow snaps and a bolt punctures into this large black bear, wounding it. The spear is thrown, but misses.
Yep. And at this point, I'll pull my sword.
Okay, so the bear essentially has entered combat at this point in time, and I would say, being that it's moving really quickly and just kind of running in like a flurry, all of you guys are engaged in the melee at this point. So it doesn't attack because it used its action declaration to enter the melee, so I'm going to pass its turn.
Can I put my short bow up and grab a melee weapon since I'll be in melee with it?
I believe you can do that, just like Locke redrew a different weapon, right?
Right.
Yep.
Exactly. Yeah, and at this point, I think Wagner, you were waiting for it to come in melee, so I think you're good. So I think we should skip over to Veether if he's waiting or moving or what he was doing.
I'm moving.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, so all of their turns would have passed based on all of them have already used their action. So yes, Veether, go ahead and take your move.
So when I move into the melee, what I need to get right here?
I would actually argue in this situation you would need to be somewhere here. And the reason I say that is this is all blocked off rubble, so you won't be effectively in the melee from this far away. You're going to need to be past Flint.
Yeah. I mean, the positioning kind of disappears. And, okay.
Yeah, I assume that you got enough movement to get there, then yep, you're good.
Yeah. And I'd remove that charge icon on you.
Okay, excellent. So now we pass Veether's turn, and we go back to redeclare.
Who has the charge icon on me?
Yeah.
It's on Veether.
Yeah, I got it.
I don't recall putting it on there.
Yeah, I think I accidentally declared a charge, but I don't know. You would have had to go first, though. I don't know.
So Adam, during the time that's passing, I'm going to pay attention to any known diseases that animals can get, seeing if I can diagnose what this might be up with this creature.
I'm going to yell to the guy to climb down and get away because now he has an opportunity.
You shout this out, Veether, but as you glance up to him, he looks like petrified, frozen in fear in this tree. He is holding on to it for absolute dear life. All right,
Oh
so
my God.
declaration of actions here. So again, real quick point of clarification, Dave. If a beast has multiple attacks, I know we talked about this, that's not considered multi-attack, because that would be listed as a special ability, so it would
That's right.
just be melee.
Yep, you got it perfectly.
All right, wanted to make sure I remembered that.
Do you have to enter melee before you can actually melee?
You
Correct.
don't, because he entered melee with you, though, right? So isn't everybody's in the melee now?
That is correct.
Right.
Yep.
So if you were still far away, Wagner, you would have to declare an enter melee, but because you've been pulled into the melee, essentially, from the bear charging it, or not really mechanically, from moving up to you, you're now in the melee.
Yeah. So we're all in. I'm gonna, Elroy. I'm not gonna drop this thing. Let's just go ahead and use weapons to get it.
Yeah.
All right. So declare.
I'm trying to declare attacking with my spear, but it seems to have dropped all my spear info. Or maybe I didn't re-add it after last time.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, remember, you can just go ahead and hit player menu and add the weapon. I had to do that because I didn't have a throwing spear. I just had the spear, and it worked just fine. So.
All right, and as declarations are going here, I'll put on a little bit more up-tempo music here for us to enjoy.
Now, I do have a question about the rules and stuff.
Yeah.
So there's no like actual like movement in here. Like we're in the melee, right? But we don't have to necessarily
Move around.
Yeah.
You know, and in fact, I think because there are 5 of us in melee with one of it, and it's man-sized. One of us is going to be able to attack its back, and we would like to have that be Flint.
And that was my question: is if that was a possibility right now? Because I think Adam said as long as there's like 2 people or 2 or more people that are like kind of engaged with it, I basically get a backstab.
There's a certain number that have to be there for you to get the back. Like I forget what the exact number is, but yes, 5 I'm sure is good.
Yeah.
Oh, sweet. Well, then I'm going for a backstab.
Yeah. So yeah, in fact, it is exactly 5.
Oh, okay. There we go.
You know, so normally if there are 3, then the defender chooses who they want on their rear. If there's 4, defender still chooses. Okay, and yeah, even with 5, the defender can choose.
I don't think the bear is smart enough to know like who it wants at its back. So I'm fine saying Flint can take the back.
Well, then I'll just walk really quietly behind.
There you go.
All right, so I see everybody has declared. So now we will roll initiative. Nice. All right.
Woohoo!
Okay, and it looks like Flint is the quickest. So Flint, you may try to resolve your backstab. Oof. All right, so the dagger stabs into the fur of the beast, but unfortunately unable to penetrate that thick fur, dealing no damage.
So I have 2 daggers? No, I'm kidding.
I think when you declare a backstab, you can only do the one time, right?
Yeah.
No, well, you can actually. He can take the second dagger attack. He just needs to do it with a secondary dagger, and it can't be a backstab. But he can still stab it. You know.
Okay, so is there a certain like secondary dagger? Because that's kind of what I was going for. I know it wasn't. It was kind of implied.
Yeah. So click your token, click attack, and you'll see that I set up a dagger S with an S on it. There it is.
All right, excellent. So while the first dagger is unable to penetrate that second one, you do find a gap in the fur, one of those weeping sores, and the dagger bites in, wounding the bear once again.
Okay.
All right, and then as a quick reminder, when your turn is over, you're going to notice this EOT button over in the chat. Just go ahead and click that EOT to pass your turn on to the next combatant. Perfect. Lock.
All right. Lock's swinging and probably missing. No, no. Guess
No,
not.
he in fact slays the beast as the sword comes down right into the creature's face as it turned around to look back at Flint. That was the killing blow, and the bear has been slain.
Sorry, Wagner. I know you're about to get it.
Oh, wonderful.
All good.
Nice going.
We are
Well done.
Nobody
on,
touch
folks.
it. Nobody touch it. It's diseased.
Oh, you. I dropped my sword.
Do we know what diseased with what?
Yeah, can I examine it from, without touching it, what it might be diseased with? Would I have any idea?
Do you have any special skills that would apply here?
I mean, I am a cleric and a ranger from the woods. It's possible.
He's
What
a
I will
Sith.
say is this does not look like any kind of, if it is a disease, you're not even sure if it is. If it is, it doesn't look like any disease you've encountered or heard about before.
I'll share that with everyone.
Maybe. I'll take a look. The legions and stuff. My little educated ability lets me know stuff about fungal oozy things.
Sure. Okay. Yeah, that might work.
Yeah, so I'm gonna do.
And so, for
Special
everybody
ability.
else's knowledge, this is a special ability that his class gets that he can make an educated roll, and if it succeeds, then he may know something about this.
Yeah, probably unlikely. I got a 9.
Yes, I would say similarly with Elroy. Obviously, this looks nasty, but you don't detect or sort of pinpoint what this might be.
Nope, I know this is something nasty. I'll clean the board off.
It's safe
What kind
to
of
come down from
condition
the
is,
tree.
is the bear pelt in?
I would say shabby, very bad because it's patchy, missing places. You feel like if you tried to skin this bear, you would certainly have contact with these weepy red sores.
I say leave it alone then.
All right, yeah, so as you look at the bear and think twice about that, as you call this out, Wagner, you notice the man up top, he looks, and it's almost like he can't believe this. He looks for a moment, and then eventually, he nods in your direction, and he slowly, very carefully starts climbing down the tree.
There weren't any other bears, were there?
He shakes his head. Oh, my God, thank you so much. No, that was the only one I saw. It was very strange. I don't know why it was around here. Very, very strange.
Yes, well, on that topic, why are you around here?
I'm kind of ashamed to admit it, but, well, I knew that a group had come around here not too much longer ago, and, well, sometimes they don't make it, and their treasure just is lying for anybody to take, and, well, I thought, if I got lucky, you never know, I might be able to find something worth some money.
This guy is Todd.
So what'd you find?
Oh, I just started walking into the courtyard, right there. You see he points to the east. I didn't get more than 4 or 5 steps in before I heard that growl. I just ran as fast as I could. It was behind me. Luckily, it was badly wounded. I don't know if you saw, but it couldn't really climb.
How long you been in that tree?
Oh my God, it feels like hours. I don't know. Yes, maybe at least 3 hours.
What's your name? I'll get my bow out.
I'm Bruggen.
Are you from Red Tower, Bruggen?
No, not from Red Tower. No, I'm originally from Cambervale, but you see, it's kind of tough there. So I've been, making it, roughing it, you might say.
Oh,
You look like you're hungry. Are you hungry?
If you have something to spare, I would be more than grateful.
There's bear meat.
Nobody should touch that.
Yeah, I'll give him a
Should we burn it?
He will happily take that from you, Wagner, and begins to chew on the hard tack and perhaps hard cheeses, other things in a ration.
Should we burn the body? the corpse?
I do think it's a good idea to burn it, but not yet. Let's finish our
Yeah, I think on the way out. On the way out, maybe.
Yeah.
Really?
We've already made a bunch of noise here.
You don't think it's a good idea to burn it now?
Well, I'm just thinking cooking meat might draw out.
Yeah, it's
more.
going to draw out everything that hasn't already hurt us.
Let's at least explore this top area here. You guys seeing the arrow slits?
Yes, and important to keep in mind here, and this again, 3D is always difficult to represent, but this is actually higher up off the ground, so while you can see through these arrow slits through the technology of Roll20, technically from the ground you would not be able to.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
You can see that they're there.
You can certainly see that they're there. Yes, good point. So you notice that after you've handed some rations to this guy, he's like sort of chewing them and talking in his through his teeth as he's eating. Yeah, it's not usually for this stuff, but it tastes good when you're hungry.
Yeah,
I'm going to check out where he was in the tree and verify that a person scrambled up that tree and has been there for a couple of hours.
You can easily determine that. You also notice, Elroy, as you glance up in this tree, there is a heavy crossbow that is actually balanced across two thick branches near up where he likely was.
Were there any crossbow bolts sticking out of the bear?
No.
Is it loaded?
It does not appear to be, no.
Yeah. We'll probably find a crossbow bolt or two in the dirt.
Or out of character, stumbling adventurers coming back out, he's picking them off and robbing them.
That's possible too, but hard to do without bolts. Does he have a quiver full of bolts on him?
You see no bolt case, no quiver on him.
Yeah. Maybe it's a magic crossbow in it. Never mind.
Where did the crossbow come from?
You asked that of him, I assume, Elroy?
Yeah.
You see he turns back towards you and starts scratching at the back of his neck. That's my hunting implement. I tried to take down game, but this game was just, way too hard.
Who hunts with a crossbow?
A guy that's not a very good shot?
Can I search the surrounding areas for, crossbow bolts, like maybe in like some of the walls, or obviously we don't see any in the bear, but like in the ground maybe?
You spend a few minutes kind of scanning around here, keeping your eyes peeled, looking for anything of the sort, but no, you don't see any.
Sensing evil, do I sense anything?
60 feet.
Oh, real quick, let's just practice this one. So, Wagner, if you click on your token and then click the player menu.
Please start with this guy.
And then once you've got that player menu, click Set AOE. Okay, you want to open spell scripts.
So I think this is the first time Wagner's done this, so just walking through, in the handout section, you're going to notice a folder called Database. You're going to expand that. You're going to go to the one listed Spell Scripts. Just click it once to open it and to initialize it. That's all you got to do to initialize, just open it. Let us know if you have any trouble finding that Spell Scripts under the Database folder.
All right, nope, I got that open, so then I hit, you said Set AOE?
Yeah, so then close it and then go back to the player menu, click on your token, and click Set AOE.
I have an option of Sleep, Bless, and Fireball.
Oh, I didn't update. It didn't get updated. Okay, never mind. We'll get it. We'll get it before next game.
No worries. Yeah, that's an update for next time, so you can just fix the script there. So I can tell you, though, Wagner, as you scan around and open your senses for any kind of ability to detect evil, and I was surprised to learn that this actually goes through walls and goes through any kind of barriers, so interesting to know, which, of course, being your ability, you would know that too. But no, within... well, heck, I guess this means it could also go down. I'm going to say no. You don't detect any evil within 60 feet just to make it easy.
Yeah, and it's 3 feet of, whatever, wood, 1 foot of stone, 1 inch of iron. So.
Oh, okay, gotcha. So it is kind of that standard. Okay, there are blockers then. So, okay, gotcha. So no evil within those parameters.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. I'm going to tell this guy, I think you should be on your way.
He nods. I agree. Yeah, I'm just going to get my crossbow and then I'll be out of here.
Yeah, I'm not really sure this is your crossbow, buddy. What happened to your ammo?
I was hunting, you see, and I kind of and then I dropped the case, and I think it's back that way.
Elroy, it's probably fine. Don't you think?
I mean, this crossbow might belong to someone who's lost and would otherwise have been jumped. I don't trust you, sir, whoever you are.
Bergen!
I mean, I don't care if he takes the crossbow. I just don't want him at my back. I mean, he's already said that he's a bottom feeder. So I want him to be on his way.
You got it, sir. Let me just get... And you see he starts climbing up to go for the crossbow.
Okay.
All right. And nobody interrupts him.
Yeah,
okay, well, excellent. Yeah, so he will collect that and then slowly climb back down. Again,
yeah, I'm going to pay attention. I'm going to pay very specific attention to his footprints so that I will be able to track him.
Okay, yeah, they're pretty common boots, so you think you could do that unless there's a bunch of other boot prints around, obviously. But yeah, he will come down, and without any further ado, he just starts beating a quick retreat off to the west.
And I'll look over at Flint and I'll say, Flint, did he look like a wink, wink, nudge, nudge, an experienced climber to you?
How did he climb at him?
Not very well.
Okay, good.
Well, obviously, I don't either. He kind of scratches the top of his head.
Locke says, I'm sure you'll get better.
Well, so definitely I think we need to do something with the body of the bear. But because it'll generate so much smoke, we should do it after we finish.
Yeah, so Wagner, you and Elroy want to lead us up?
Yeah, given that we're going into a narrow area, I'm going to do spear, and I put my battle axe back up on my back, ready my shield and my spear.
Yeah, and one thing is when you're in a tight area like this, there is a rule for zone of control, and what that means is Wagner, for example, either you and Vither or you and Elroy can actually hold that hallway, and when people get in melee, they're in melee with you, but unless they have long weapons, they can't hit anyone in the second rank, and then anyone in the second rank that has long weapons like a spear would be able to hit them. So it's a safe way to fight, especially if the two guys up front have a decent AC.
Okay, so a quick look at the group. Who is holding a spear or has one?
I have one.
Locke has one.
Okay.
So the two half-elves have spears.
So maybe do Vither and Wagner up front, and then the spear guys behind.
Yeah, I don't mind going in front. I do have a spear too, in case we ever get into a scenario.
Okay. I'll go with bow, arrow, knock for now. I like that initiative bonus.
So Vither, you want to be at point with Wagner?
Yeah, he's there.
Yeah.
All right. I'll be like ducking underneath those,
Yep, so those are like 10 feet above you. So, yeah, if you stick right to the wall, you don't think anybody could hit you from there.
Okay, good. Yeah, I'm definitely trying to stay out of the line of fire.
All right, as you make your way closer into the courtyard here and looking to the south, you notice the buildings lining the fortress walls were originally barracks, workshops, and stables. Now they're almost completely in ruins. Their slate-shingled roofs have fallen in, and only portions of the interior walls remain. There are no doors or windows still in their frames, and the original floors are buried under up to a foot of debris. Brush grows from every patch of dirt, and vines drape the ancient walls.
It looks like there are some stairs above. Why don't we secure the area, and then we can search it out?
Sounds good.
I'll follow your lead.
Elroy, you still have that you're deaf.
Oh, sorry.
Okay.
Looks like the stairs head to the west,
Yep.
and then perhaps descend from there. So I'll keep an eye on this direction if you guys want to check out the courtyard and the adjoining rooms.
Yeah, so this is where the half-elves should do a walk-around. So and then what you can do is just select our tokens and do a scan check. And then if there's anything, first, if there's any success, and then there's anything out of the ordinary or stuff that, we might notice passively, then you can let us know.
And how much of an area does scan check cover? Is that pretty much the perimeter of this entire courtyard?
Yeah, you usually just choose an area and say, so like it could be, one room. So we would say, maybe, okay, we'll scan the courtyard. And that'll be like one check or something like that.
Okay, yeah, so you guys spend some time scanning the courtyard here as you walk the perimeter, and nothing sticks out as out of the ordinary.
Okay, very good. All right. And just looking in these side rooms, they don't look used. They appear to be empty of anything other than debris.
Lots of debris, lots of rubble. Whether they've been used anytime recently is hard to tell.
And then Elroy, you're not seeing any spoor other than the possibly.
Yeah, I'll also do the looking for tracks kind of thing.
So the ground inside the courtyard here is more cobblestone, so it's harder to pick up tracks here because it's more like stone rather than soft dirt. I would say, just based on your experience as a ranger and seeing where the bear came from, you realize the bear was nesting somewhere around here. You don't think you've gotten to its nest, though, yet, because you would be fairly familiar with what maybe a bear den would look like, right? Or at least a resting area. You don't think you've been there yet.
Okay, good.
So I don't know if this would be the right context to do this, but could I make a hearing check? Because it looks like there's a floor above us, right?
So it sounds like you want to make a hear noise special thief skill?
Yeah, kind of. I want to utilize as much of my skills as I possibly can.
Sure. Hey, let's give it a shot. So I think you click your token, you click thief skills, and there should be an option for hear noise.
Yep. And I'm just trying to hear, like, what I can hear, I guess, or if there's any kind of, like...
I'll do him a favor by stopping, and then all of the pots and pans, clanging together, we'll...
If there's any kind of movement other than us.
All right. Well, based on our session time, I think this is the perfect time to end with a cliffhanger here, because Flint, you hear the sound of large wings fluttering or perhaps extending, opening at an off cadence to the point where it doesn't sound like flying, but it does sound like some kind of winged being above you is stretching its wings. And I think, guys, that is where we will go ahead and end our session for tonight. This was obviously session 1. Hope everybody enjoyed this time. Again, we're all going to be learning this. It's going to take a little while. We're all going to get faster at this. So I'm sure we'll be able to get through more stuff in future successive sessions. Any closing comments or remarks anybody would like to make at the end of session 1?
Good job, everybody. Yeah, great job.
It was fun.
Yep.
Excellent. Great job, everybody. Really enjoyed gaming with you guys, and we will see everybody next week.
Have a good week, guys.
Night, everyone.
Take care, everybody.